everybody? Welcome back to another episode in the live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back, guys. It has been a couple weeks since I have been here with the panel, and I apologize for that, but work gets in the way, travel gets in the way, illness gets in the way, but nothing could get us in the way of getting nuts today with the boys. We're going to talk Superman. We're going to talk Red Hulk. I want to talk a little bit about AI and AI taking over our world. What does that mean for us? What does it look like for our humanity? But also we've got Hot Toys, Jazz Inc., In Art, all of the good stuff. So guys, stick around. But if you like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts?
Get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Alrighty, let's get the music going. I want to bring out my first guest of the day. You may recognize him as the counter-villain of a Spider-Man film. Starts with Mysterio, ends with Meotics. We got Jay Mysterio back in the house with us once again. Good to see you, man. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You got the new crispy mic, so we are going to need the chat help. If Jay's coming in a little bit loud, just let us know, and we'll tweak our gains and all of the things. I'm not the Oxfather, of course, like Collecting Weekly, so I got to be careful for that. So can you hear the music? Let's see. Can you hear this? Hey, there we go. A little rusty. We've been out 3 weeks. You hate to see it. But Jay, dude, thanks for being back. How is life going in collecting for you, good sir?
Lots of interesting things coming in. A lot of Marvel stuff coming out too. I mean, with trailers and movies and things like that, a lot of announcements. So I'm sure just a matter of time. There's going to be a lot of figure announcements and teasers. I mean, we all know how the Winter Soldier part went. So.
Oh man, I was pissed. I actually dropped an F-bomb in one of my videos.
Yeah.
And then one of my work colleagues, his little kid likes watching the channel, and I had to be like, hey, just a heads up, like, I dropped some F-bombs in that video, so don't cancel me or unsubscribe. Just skip that one. Just skip that one. But dude, I'm glad to have you back. We are definitely going to get into collecting right now because of course it's been a little bit crazy for people. Everybody was having to try to decide whether they were going to just like get out of collecting entirely because there was too many things coming. And then it's been like ghost town this week, right? So as it normally is in February. So good to have you here. Guys, we also have my favorite Irish person in the world next to my grandma here with me. He's quite a bit taller than her, but still just as lovely. We got Shane, one six-figure focus, back in the house. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
How's it going, Ben? How's it going, Jay? Yeah, good to be back. I have tomorrow off, so I put out the Ben symbol and you answered the call. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a chat and get to talk to Pete for the second time in a week, which is it's all good. It's all good.
Can't even imagine what the Ben symbol looks like in the sky. If it's a huge nut, I don't know if that's something anybody wants to see in their skyline.
I could tell you, but I don't want to get you demonetized, man.
That's fair. That's fair. I put out a poll in the YouTube channel the other day to be like, hey, if anybody wants to ask us any, fun questions while it's a bit of a slower news week, feel free to send a question. Well, King Dingaling sent us a question, so we will be addressing his question on the show today. Shane also gave me a question, but I don't think it's appropriate to share here, to be honest. I can't really tell him.
I asked, how did you get so handsome? But,
Lael keeps calling me what's it called, Reed Richards, the Ben Richards, because I've got my mega salty gray hair coming in lately. It's getting real bad.
That's fashionable, man. That's fashionable.
If you say so. It makes me feel like I'm ancient, but that's okay. We're gonna hold it out. I won't get too flexible on the stream today. So, dude, Shane, thanks for being here. Happy to have you here. We already have 21 people joining us live. I'm gonna say hi to everybody as I always do here shortly. So just bear with me, of course, because we got one more panelist in the house today. What's a Canadian guy, two Canadians, an Irish man, and a British guy have in common? the Get Nuts on Sundays. We got Pete here from Only Fools and Collecting. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, good to see you, Ben and Jay, and yeah, Mr. Tauti for a second time this week. Yeah, be good. I do have work tomorrow, so let's keep it on schedule, Ben.
We'll keep it on schedule. Sounds good. Sounds good. If you just if you need to leave early, you just flip me off, and I'll know that that's the signal for I gotta leave. That's it. It's all over. So.
No worries. No worries.
Guys, we have a great show planned for you today. As always on Let's Get Nuts Sunday, I like to start with a little bit of a warm-up, and this is a bit of a silly warm-up, but it does tie into the AI topic that I'm curious about with regards to the boys. So let's jump into it here. Zelda, of course, I don't know if you guys know this, is my favorite video game of all time. Zelda Ocarina of Time, most specifically on the Nintendo 64. And there's been talk over the years of, what about a live action show? How could that, go, and who could be cast in the role? And when I mentioned AI, I saw a post the other day that made me chuckle a little bit because there was a bunch of different fan castings here. Now, I'm going to show them all to you. And then, guys, all I want from you is what would be your fan cast of these AI slides? Okay, so here's the first one. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4. You guys in the chat can let us know as well. Are any of these couples somebody that you could consider? Link and Zelda. Let me know. Then, of course, we got 5, 6, 7, and 8. I especially like the Snoop Dogg one, of course, and the Danny DeVito one. But, The Rock holds a place in my heart as well. And then last, of course, we got 9, 10, and 11. Nicolas Cage one also made me laugh a little bit. Wild what AI can do these days. I think my favorite of these here might be Aquafina and Adam Sandler. That would actually be hilarious. But in terms of actual reality, who doesn't see Timothy Chalamet or Tom Holland in a Link role maybe at some point? I don't know. Maybe you guys are sick of them. But Jay, I'm going to go to you for the warm-up here, buddy. What number slide stands out to you the most? And let us know, guys, in the chat.
Well, funny enough, last night I actually watched Dune. So Timothy's fresh in my mind, and he's a good actor. So I'm leaning towards that one, and he also has like that slender facial structure that Elfie. Mm-hmm. So I would say number one. And number one. What's her name? Anya Taylor-Johnson.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah,
she's wonderful. Yeah, she's wonderful, and definitely probably the most serious fan casting of all of these slides for sure. For sure. What about you, Shane? What one stands out to you here? Maybe as your favorite funny one, and your favorite like actual reality could be a cool thing.
It's no question. It's number one as well. I'm gonna side with Jay on that one. Anna Taylor-Joy is she's beautiful. She has those little unique you might call them imperfections or just parts that are just unique about her that make her stand out and make her beautiful. I'm not going to go down the Marco line. Or what does Marco say about some people? They're so ugly.
That they're so
beautiful.
Ugly that they're
I just think that's absolute nonsense, and he's wrong. I think it's a silly thing to say. I've always disagreed openly with him. I was like, "What are you talking about, man?" Anna de Armas is gorgeous. This Anna Taylor-Joy, she is unique looking. She has unique looking kind of facial structure. So I think it would kind of suit her to be in this. I know nothing about Zelda, but I can see Chalamet as well, and look, the people who are good at their jobs tend to get the job a lot of the time. So, I mean,
for sure, he's
been great in the vast majority of things I've seen him in. So, I could see it. In terms of funny ones, I don't know. Is that your one from Twilight, number 11?
Yeah.
She does not want to be there. She does not want to be there. She's just like, I really thought I was past taking these roles for the money, but fuck this. I don't want to wear these. Oh, damn it. You don't get demonetized.
We're past 5 minutes.
You won't get demonetized because you actually. I cursed in one of mine very earlier on. I thought, okay, if Ben's theory is right, I'm going to get demonetized. But no demonetization. You're fine.
You're good.
Don't worry about it. You won't. She just doesn't want to be there. It's so funny. Oh god.
Yeah. That's awesome. Pete, last but not least, good sir, is there any here that you think would actually be a good casting? Any that you think is ridiculous?
Definitely number 8. I mean, I'm not taking it seriously whatsoever. I don't think any of these are serious contenders. I don't know that it would work
That's right.
either. But yeah, I would love to see number 8. Yeah,
Number 8.
because
Fair
those
enough.
two are
Right,
hilarious together. I
straight
love
out of those two from the Jumanji films, right? So I can see it.
yeah.
But in all seriousness, the reason that I bring this up is experts are saying that AI wars have officially begun. It's interesting because even in my office right now, my teammates are writing emails with AI. They're like, we have a weekly love letter that we do to our team where it's kind of like what we've done for the week and everything, because we're a lot of sales folks, so we don't see each other a lot. And they're using AI to sound like Jack Sparrow or what was the one? Winston Churchill, the one guy made himself sound like in his letter, just based on like he wrote the letter and then just plugged it through AI. But then, of course, when I think about all the great science fiction movies that I've seen in my life, all the times where something like AI stood out, whether that was, movies like I, Robot, Terminator with Skynet, all of the scary science fiction around AI. And I was curious what you guys are feeling about it lately, because this is the worst that AI will ever be again, if you think about it. I don't know if you guys saw that video of Will Smith eating the noodles a couple years back, and it looked like horrible. And now, like, there's videos of basically the same thing, and he looks like he's pretty much just eating a bowl of noodles. Like, it's kind of scary. And again, at some point, people will be able to clone people like us on a show like this with AI, just because we've had our voices and faces on the internet. And I'm curious what you guys think about the future. What does that look like? Is that a scary world? Is that science fiction scariness our future? Or how do you think that they're going to be able to rein that in our lifetime? And let us know what you guys think in the chat there as well. But Pete, I'll stick with you first, buddy. What are your thoughts on AI and the progression of AI over the last couple of years?
I already joked on OFAC on Thursday that Zach is now a fully AI. That he's no longer an actual person, that he's streaming all the time, and I don't know that he can't possibly get away with that with his wife. So yeah, he's definitely AI now. Like yourself, we're using AI at work now, so we have we have note takers. So you have a Teams meeting, you have an AI note taker. They take the full transcript, they write a summary, they write a plan of action, stuff like that. So we're just sort of dipping our toes. My company's using it to write job descriptions and things like that. So we're kind of just getting in there, but we've obviously got lots of ideas and stuff about the application of it. I think there's definitely, outside of my department, because I kind of work in the business improvements, that's kind of our bread and butter, but obviously a lot of people are scared that it's going to lead to jobs going and stuff, and inevitably it may do. I mean, if this just for example, the minute taking, if it gets good enough, then you're not going to need somebody to do that. We kind of look at it more that we're trying to take away those boring menial admin jobs from people, so they can actually do the things that they're good at in their jobs. So I'm not. Sure. So I sort of I think from that standpoint, I feel like I know a little bit more about it than I did before. And obviously, at the moment, we are. These are what we give them. So it's just cramming a hell of a lot of data, and then it being processed in a often interesting way. And I think in everyday life, it's probably not really affecting me yet. Although what annoys me now is that it's blurring those lines between what's real and like the fake news kind of thing. And I'm not talking about serious fake news. I'm talking about or you scroll down in Facebook and it says, "Oh, new series of so and so coming," and it looks really realistic, and then you sort of read down and you're like, "Oh, it doesn't sound right." So that's what annoys me a bit more, is that the people are using it to kind of suggest that things are about that aren't actually real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to need to find ways to kind of filter that to people so that it's a little more obvious when you're watching that kind of stuff, right? Because you're
Yeah.
right, the world is mixed with lots of fake news now. It is very hard. It used to be a,
Yeah.
do your homework type of sentence, right? If somebody was saying something that you didn't agree with, like, well, go do your homework. But now your homework will support virtually any theory that you have because it exists somewhere on the internet. You can find anything to support your
Yeah.
own theory, whether that's visual imagery, written, or all of the above, and it doesn't make it any more real. So, but I also think of worlds like that have robots in them. As I said, when I think about remember that Robin Williams movie? I think it was called what the hell was it called? Bicentennial Man, I think it was. Where over he starts out as a robot and kind of evolves himself, and I always thought that was a beautiful movie, but also how cool could that be in terms of certain types of work and industries that people no longer want to work in being governed by things like robots? Is that a possibility of our future? I think yes. Unlike the flying cars of the Back to the Future film in 2015, like they were predicting, right? So,
Yeah.
well, what's your experience, Shane, been like with AI, especially being in like the educational sector, and like, are you finding that's getting difficult with things like homework and stuff like that? But also, what do you think the world looks like in the future for AI?
Yeah, we already see it in schools and education and stuff like that. Like people are definitely using the likes of Chat GPT to write assignments, and like I've done a few courses, not kind of small short courses on Chat GPT specifically, and just kind of outline the pros and cons, and the way they say, look, it's only as good as its prompts, and it's not necessarily real AI, but it's a fine starting point if you're writing a paper or an email, but it needs that human touch because otherwise it sounds like it's been written by a robot, like, or whatever, which is fair. In terms of the education, then, like, I wouldn't have any issue if a student kind of, if they had a lab report to do or something like that, and they used ChatGPT or some sort of AI to write the foundation, but they have to tailor and go through it themselves and then adjust it so that it actually makes contextual sense for the report they were doing or the paper they're writing or something like that. So it brings the human element into it in the same way that you can't plagiarize something. You have to reference when you're using someone else's intellectual property. You should have to reference when you've used AI. When in life have human beings not invented a technology and not weaponized it? Like examples, DDT, chlorine gas, nuclear fission, nuclear fusion. Like, it's all of these things. The tanks were, I think, originally from like a Caterpillar tractor or something like that, so it like a lot of technologies, it has massive pros and advantages, but it has absolutely massive downfalls. And again, it's like the gun isn't dangerous, it's the person holding the gun. So like this is going to cause problems in the future. It'll do amazing things, but it will also scam people out of money. It will, be used in terrorism. It'll be, unfortunately, that is the way it's going to go. I bet money on it.
Do you have any? Do they give you any sort of training or anything on things?
As in AI recognizing?
Yeah, software? Are there things that you can?
No. This is, I think, like, I think sometimes like crime and like cheating in tests are very similar. Unfortunately, like, we're reactive. It's like we realize this is happening, and then we're like, all right, let's try to prevent this, and then it's moved on or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like it's going to do it's we've all seen in the last like month or two specifically, those reels of the in-art Batman. Next thing, he starts walking out of the shelf and swinging around the place, and you're like, it was fine for about 10 minutes, and then we're like, all right, this is just a bit irritating.
It must be really difficult though, because you're essentially could end up with every child in your class being an A, whatever they are, level 9, A star, level 9, because they're all getting everything they need from that. So you obviously know those as individuals, but at what point can you say, I know you didn't write that?
Because you pick out something from it and go, this is interesting. Define relative atomic mass. Talk to me about that. Yeah, and what's the difference between a standard solution and a primary standard solution? Talk to me about that. Blank stare. All right, we need to have a chat with your parents. Do you know what I mean? It's like we weren't born yesterday. What I find it more scary is if someone does have the wherewithal to, like, if they're doing a bit and they get to a stage where it's like they're in a position of power or in a position of responsibility, maybe. And it's like maybe they're a doctor or a surgeon. Like I doubt they would get this far without being flagged. But someone comes in with a gunshot wound to the liver and an exit wound going through their stomach and another then in their kidney or something. Like instantly off the top of my head, you can't go 1 second. I'll Google how to fix that. You need to remember what to do in that situation. Like, you know what I mean? Okay, I need X amount of blood to replace the blood lost, or I need to put pressure on this and this, or I need some sort of gauze. I don't know. I'm just gonna spitball in here, like, but like, yeah, useful
It'll
tool.
only get you so far, essentially.
Yeah,
Like you said,
exactly,
it's a tool
exactly.
that'll only get you
I think
so
it's
far.
going to do amazing things, but I also think it's going to do nightmarish things as well.
That's interesting. Would you either of you guys ever have like robotic technology in your home, like in the future, like we've seen from science fiction films, where
Like a
you
robot
got your
maid.
robot yeah, cooking dinner for you, cleaning up the
Rocky,
house. I
Rocky
mean,
3.
yeah.
Haven't we seen like was there not like some Tesla robot that started kicking the head off some employee, or was that not a
I've
thing?
seen it, but again, hard to know if it's
I don't know if
AI
it's
or
true
not.
or
Is
not,
it generated?
or it's just some
nobody
like
knows.
someone who just like just looking for clicks or whatever. So
For sure.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I haven't
man.
sort of gone there yet, but a lot of people got those Roombas, haven't they? The robot Hoovers, vacuum cleaners at the moment. So that's probably where most people start to have a kind of robotic assistance in the house.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I can see it. And I mean, I work in aged care centers quite a lot for work and stuff like that. And like, man, some of those nurses need help in those places. They're understaffed. It's difficult, right? So, but you're talking about Shane. Kids, using AI to build reports and stuff. I remember, this ages myself a little bit, but back on my old Windows 95 computer, I had the encyclopedia disk set. And man, you can find a lot of random stuff in the encyclopedia disk set, and I definitely cheated on tests with that information, and I still remember it to this day.
Ben,
I
Johnny
gained
Rico's
Sorry.
comment. Sorry, Pete.
Yeah, God, yeah.
It's particularly his second one. Like, it's like, so Johnny Rico's last two comments there. The guy who designed many of your costumes, your Hot Toys are based on, is one of the folks spearheading the fight. And then the next one, half the artists that made and designed the movies you love and the toys you have already lost half of their work. Like, that's the thing. Like that, the human like condition, the at this stage in our lives, we've all experienced a range of powerful emotions. Maybe that's, sorrow, loss, that dopamine hit when you're in love, or like being on a roller coaster, or doing that thing, whether it's playing live music or snowboarding or bungee jump or whatever, doing something that just like gets the adrenaline moving. And the AI will never experience that. And then like again, we'll never experience in the same way that we do. So that kind of passion that comes through, that I suppose can be translated into art, beautiful, whether it's set design or script writing or poetry or music or, movies or whatever, like that is kind of irreplaceable. So I don't know, there's always that.
Yeah.
Very true. I already feel like we've lost some of our creativity in the world as it stands, right? And so, yeah, I'd be worried that once things like AI really pick up on trends and stuff that we typically click on, and right, I mean, we talk about YouTube, how longer form content is even going away in a lot of ways. There's 1,500 people that'll watch a live stream like this, but there's thousands of people who will watch a 10-second short because it's click and move on, right? It's tricky that way. And it de-incentivizes actual like creative discussion and thought and fun and laughs and all of those for the short stuff, which most of us hate, but that's the way the world is moving. So, Jay Mysterio, I'd be curious on how AI's maybe touched your life. What are your thoughts on the future of the technology? Is it something that you are optimistic about, or more nervous like some of us out there?
Well, just talking about it now, it's giving me like a little bit of anxiety.
Let's get anxious
just
today.
yeah, like as a background, like I work in the protective services and security industry. I'm one of the regional department managers, so AI is a very common topic that we talk about all the time consistently because it's affecting so many people in good and in bad ways. Helping with departments such as, like, let's say analytics or auditing and things like that, AI is really, really helpful. But when it comes to, like, let's say you receive an email, right? And then it's either like a cover letter, for example, or a resume, something like that. And then when you're reading it, it's like, hey, this reads out really, really well. I kind of want to interview this person, or I want to, further push that information. And then you don't even realize that it's not real. It's just generated. Someone put in the information into, let's say, GPT or whatever program that they use it for, and then whatever you're receiving is not real enough, right? And of course you make an assumption, or you make a decision off of that, and then later on down the road, let's say you meet this person, or this thing is hired, or you let that program or AI take over some sort of division in the workplace. Now you have people leaving, being replaced. There's so many gears turning in my head right now because it's such a impactful thing. Like with government things, apparently government is using AI for, what do you call it? Help me out here. With immigration, for like processing the papers and seeing who's eligible, who's entitled, and things like that, and what they can and cannot receive. Like there's no sympathy, there's no second look, there's no other factoring things, where if it's a human doing it, there's a bit of emotion in there, there's a bit of reconsideration, there's some sort of attachment where it's like, hey, what is this person actually going through? Where with AI, it's a snap of a finger. So it's a love-hate for me anyways. Like let's dive into the social media aspect of it. Like let's say Instagram, YouTube, any kind of video. Like I've been fooled a few times now with fake trailers. Right, that's how good they're getting. It's incredible. And there's this one with the new Superman where it's like, hey, they kind of tweak this trailer a little bit, it almost like an extension of it, but then when you watch until the very end, it's fake, and you're kind of like, well, I was kind of hopeful. And there's no way, and there's nothing telling you that it's AI either, and that's the crazy part about it. Like I think I'm not sure if regulated is the right word for it, but I think something should tell us as the viewer, as the consumer, that, hey, this is AI. Therefore, make your decision of, are you going to take it with a grain of salt? Are you going to, be passionate about it? Are you going to dismiss it or swipe on? There's so many pros and cons. And here's the crazy thing too. I love Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is my favorite movie of all time.
Preach.
I grew up with that. I have it tattooed on my arm. There's no fate but what we make. And, I've been thinking and dreaming and kind of like imagining AI since I was a kid. And now that it's here, it's like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Not yet anyways, right? So
I had that experience with virtual reality, actually. There was a time where I thought virtual reality in games would be like the coolest thing ever. And then I've tried it, and I'm like, it gives me a headache, and I don't love it, and I feel kind of closed in, and I walk into the television, it's not there for me yet,
Well, I was actually just to add on to the topic, I was watching something about AI glasses, right? So it could be the glasses that Pete, Shane, and I are wearing, and there's an AI built into it, and it's showing you a screen inside where it's not visible to whoever is looking at you, right?
Sure.
So imagine taking that to a test, taking that to somewhere, classified, somewhere with very sensitive information. No one would have a clue, right? And the detail that it's capturing, all the analytics behind that AI will configure things so fast, and who knows, that could be the end of something or a beginning of something incredible. We don't know, right? There's that movie that Johnny Depp starred in.
Johnny Depp one. I don't know.
Yeah,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, it's that
he was definitely AI in that movie.
he was he was dying. I forgot the name of it, but he was dying, and then they actually implanted his mind into.
Is that Johnny Mnemonic? No,
or
was that Keanu Reeves? Johnny
That's
Mnemonic.
Keanu, isn't it? I think.
That's Keanu Reeves.
Transhumanism.
It'll come
is
to
that
me.
it? I've never heard of it.
Transhumanism.
But
I remember
I don't know if that's it.
transhumanism.
No, me neither.
never heard of
I've never
that
seen
one.
the ad for it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it'll come to me, but yeah, like basically what he did was he put all the AIs into a hive mind, which is himself, and then basically directed it to what he wanted to do instead of what AI would decide. But AI was backing him in that sense. It was a fascinating transcendence. That's what it's called. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's like the definition
Love
of
I saw that one.
scary AI. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. I feel optimistic for it, but I will still say that, again, regulations are created by humans. And once AI learns how to supersede our own regulation, then how do we put a cap on it, right? Like Ultron. You know, is there going to be an Ultron bot everywhere? Hard to say. But I thought it was an interesting topic. I love the concept of future technology. I've always thought it was cool to see movies that are based in, the future, right? What could the future look like? It's one of the reasons I always liked things like Star Wars and Star Trek. Star Trek a little bit more for that reason, because it always gave that idealized, realized version of what a humanity of Earth could look like in 400 years from now. But also liked things like Back to the Future, where you get to see what 2015 looks like when it's still in the early 90s, right? And some of the hopes and dreams of technology. I think that there's a huge application in which, people will have relationships with AI in the future, and all of the things like Her, I think, was one with Joaquin Phoenix. That was an interesting
It's a
concept
good
as
movie,
well.
man.
So, yeah, it's great, right? So, but guys, let us know in the chat. Let us know what you think about AI, the future of technology. Is that something you're excited for, or a little bit nervous about? Good brain teaser for the day here, guys. Great way to start. I was curious. We're gonna keep this one pretty short because I know that a lot of folks have already talked about this, but I haven't had a chance to yet. I saw this while I was away at my work conference last week. It was kind of the end of the new updated trailer of Superman, of course, and there's been a lot of people being critical of his face in this, saying that his eyes look a little crooked. I've actually seen some pretty funny pictures where like laser beams are going in opposite directions and such. But I was curious, did this worry you guys at all? Let's be honest, James Gunn has already given us flight like this when you saw it from the Guardians film, which you see on the right-hand side, and at that point it looked pretty good, pretty polished. However, I will say that James Gunn's Superman is definitely like the most, I think, anticipated, but also most like people are going to be critical of the message. If you're not tight with your message, people are going to pick this stuff apart because a lot of folks don't want this to succeed. And so the minute they see guys like Corn Sweat here with his eyes a little cockeyed, it's going to be a terrible movie, right? And I would say no, that's probably not the case. In my opinion, it's likely just camera angle and the way that the shot is done. I'm not too worried about it. But does this change anything for you, Pete, in terms of your excitement? Or once again, is it kind of James Gunn just has to be careful on the message that he delivers to these folks?
Yeah, I think it's just something that the haters are just picking on to kind of further their cause. I'm not really invested in this at the moment. I'm just letting it run, and I'll wait and see kind of how it reviews at the time. I'm a little bit jaded with the kind of this constant rebooting, recasting nature, but obviously that's going to happen because you can't keep the same actors forever, either for reasons of they fall out of the studios or they get too old and stuff like that. So it's going to happen ad infinitum with Superman, Batman, all that kind of thing. But I'm at that point where I don't have any expectations of it. I don't really care if it ends up rubbish because I don't feel like I've lost anything. But obviously, if it turns out to be great, then brilliant, and I'll definitely go and watch it and enjoy it. But as I say, I've not. I don't think I stand to lose anything if it is rubbish. But I do love films, movies, going to the cinema and stuff, watching it at home. So I would rather it's a good movie because of course, it's a good one to watch. But yeah, we'll just wait and see. But I think a lot of people are just jumping on anything they can because they hate James Gunn.
Totally fair. Shane, what's your thoughts on people like wanting things to fail, like films like this? Like there's a big community of people that are like, screw James Gunn, screw this Corn Sweat guy. I hope it's terrible. Why would you ever hope a movie is terrible? What are your thoughts on that? And what are your thoughts on the the look of this this flight scene here?
I think they just want to be right. Like, we all know those people in an everyday life who they're just always giving out. They're just they're always giving out. As in, like, the person that gives out about the bad weather, the person gives out about, like, the bad cocktail they had on the weekend, the person that gives out about traffic. It's just, we meet these people every day. If they weren't moaning, they'd have nothing to do. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, I didn't like that trailer. I didn't like that movie. I don't like that director's style. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think where this is you're coming off, and myself and Pete, we're not DCU fans. I think that's fair to say, Pete.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
we recognize there are elements that they got right. Like, I think for the most part, the casting was done very well. At the Henry Cavill, anyway, I think he's just born to play the role, and the suit design was great, and the action for the most part was great. But when he was flying, he kind of looked cool, and this doesn't look cool, and they kind of needed to look cool because that is part of the thing, man. Let's be honest. Like, there's a lot of people out there who are diehard DCU fans, and myself and people probably similar. We don't care if this is good or bad. I'm gonna go see it and whatever. But that trailer, the only thing that did it for me, I really like that little guitar riff there that pulled at the heartstrings. I was like, that's pretty cool. I really like. I watched The Marvelous Miss Maisel, so that new Lois Lane quote. That girl can act. She's really good, and that excites me. But after that, not much else. And this here, you know what? This is, if you ever follow like Red Bull on Instagram, just do it. Just do it. There's always putting up some cool stuff, and they do a lot of stuff with wingsuits. And one of the angles they show is the guys have the helmets on because, like, you're going to need a helmet. That's going to really help if you crash in a wingsuit. It's about as useful as a waterproof tea bag. Like,
It'll save you from a bird
exactly.
strike,
Exactly. It's honestly like why you're wearing a helmet. You're falling from a few kilometers up. Like, you're going into the ground like a bloody dart. You're going to be liquidized. The helmet might survive. You won't. But they do this thing where they have the GoPro attached onto the head, and just that angle makes the head look big and the shoulders look narrow, but it's still really cool because it's like a 4K, and that's why a lot of people didn't like the Batman jumping off the wing, the squirrel suit scene. Sure. Yeah, you with me? Yeah. And whereas I was like, you know what? Like, from watching a lot of skate videos and watching a lot of like that kind of wingsuit stuff, I'm like, that's just the way it looks. So I was thinking, no, that's actually how it would look in real life, and that's kind of grounded in reality. So whether you like it or not, and I think maybe that's what they're going here, but it's not working. I think Blue Tattoo, shout out to Blue Tattoo, tweeted James Gunn and said, like, what's going on with the CGI? And James Gunn came back with, he actually retweeted him, replied to him and said, you hear the story, no?
Yeah, briefly, but I don't know.
He kind of retweeted him back on, there's no CGI here. James, maybe there should be. It does look a bit weird. It's kind of like someone put like the Henry Cavill next to this, and it was like, yeah, to be fair, it's a bit of a downgrade. But at the same time, this will not make or break the movie. Like, if you didn't like the Batman scene with the wingsuit and you didn't like that angle, I'm sure you probably appreciated the rest of the movie. You know what I mean? And I know
what took me out of that scene was that he hit the bridge and then the bus and then still wasn't dead.
Man, I laughed my ass off, man. When he ragged on, I burst out laughing. I think I was the only one in the cinema laughing. I realized, okay, very inappropriate. But like the thing is, like George Lucas said, films are never finished; they're abandoned. So I presume he means there's always a director looking back, even if you have like a 5-star masterpiece, like you've got best picture, whatever, and they're going to go, you know what, I could have tweaked this and made it better. And I love that analogy. So if you take something like, easy example, The Dark Knight, most of the things are pointing in the right direction. And then there's a few things that are like, okay, yeah, you got a bit too much dialogue in the voice. Why is he talking to Lawrence Fishburne's character doing the Bat voice? He knows who he is. There's a few things that point in the opposite direction, but for the most part, everything's going the right direction. But I don't think a lot of the trailer pointed things in the right direction for me, but I'm still going to go see it. I don't want it to fail because people out there want to like this. People out there want to love this. So for my friends who are really into this and dying for this, in fairness, James Gunn, he won me over with the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. He won me over that second Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker. So I think the guy's good at what he does. So I'm going to go see this with an open mind. But so far, this and the trailer have done little or nothing for me.
Very, very well said. Very well said. How did you feel, Shane, about the Man of Steel, though? Because, I mean, we're huge Dark Knight fans, and obviously, Christopher Nolan had his touches in that first Man of Steel film. I remember after the Dark Knight trilogy and knowing that the Superman was going to be coming, and it was like darker and like had kind of like that good music, the Hans music in there, and like there was so much build up to that. And I thought Man of Steel was actually a pretty great movie overall, and then felt disappointed by the universe overall. Kind of like you, I don't have that much expectation now going forward, other than I really hope that this is good because I don't want superhero films to fail. But were you a fan of the Man of Steel one if you weren't a huge fan of the Snyderverse?
In terms of DCU, Man of Steel would be my pick. And then after that, the Suicide Squad. But Man of Steel, not a perfect movie. 3-star movie.
Nope.
Good movie. It's not a masterpiece. I wouldn't even consider it excellent. But there were parts in it that are excellent. The casting of Henry Cavill, the suit design, the development showing him as a kid and a teenager and all the things he overcome. I loved that. The Hans Zimmer score, phenomenal. Kevin Costner breaks my heart every time I see it. Megan can't watch it anymore. No, you know the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, don't save
just
me.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I like the darkness, but yeah, I let's face it, the DCU rushed. They saw what Marvel were doing. They rushed it, and Marvel for the first few phases at least planned it out well.
Yeah. Brick Artemis in the chat, shout out to Brick, says nobody liked the Cavill suit design.
Completely disagree. I loved it straight away because it didn't have. I liked the way it looked like a chainmail armor. Loved it straight away. Liked the way it was a little darker. And listen, man, get rid of those little red underpants. I know it's a classic. I know it's whatever. Nah, I just think they look silly. Always have. Always will. So I disagree respectfully there.
Yeah. I don't hate the underpants, especially as a figure. I think it's going to pop on the shelf.
Christopher Reeve.
Listen, man, go on. Sorry,
Christopher Reeve. Yeah, love him. Always.
Next time, Ben, when I meet you in perfect,
he wore the pants.
When you're gonna wear red underwear.
When I meet you in person, Ben, I expect you to be wearing your red underpants outside your thing.
Yeah, why are they so red? Odd. Jay, what do you think about this real quick, bud? Was this something that like you laughed at, or you're like, oh man, it's just like people are blowing this out of proportion? And what is your thoughts on people just kind of outwardly wanting this to fail at this point?
Well, with a photo, the first thought that came to my mind is like, how many figures have we seen a picture that looks just like that? All wonk-eyed, the fisheye, and it just looks weird.
With
like
the purge systems.
With the purge system, yeah. I mean, it's a crab mentality. People just want to basically just crap on something just for the sake of crapping on it. And also, it's your perspective too. Like, what kind of people are we? Do we want to look at things with the glass half full or with it half empty? What generates us? What gives us that dopamine hit? If you're generally a negative person, right, then you're going to want to say bad things about no matter how good something could potentially be. That's just the way it is from what I've seen. And I mean, look at the track record, right? When Man of Steel first came out, people crapped on it. People look, oh, this is terrible. This is too dark. At the time, Henry was splitting the community in half, right? And then when it came out, it was people kind of liked it. It was mixed reviews. And then with BVS, when Ben Affleck got casted, the internet blew up with Ben being casted as Bruce. Right, and I was one of the few in my social circle saying, "Now Ben's gonna be great. Just wait for it." Right, because watching everything he's been in, I'm like, this guy can make a really good Bruce Wayne, and if he just darkened it up a little bit, he'd be a great Batman too. Fast forward that a couple years, people absolutely love Ben as Bruce. So what do people what are we trying to prove by just crapping on something that we haven't even fully seen yet? So when I watch trailers and watch movies, I try not to watch reviews too often before going into it, so I don't have that negative idea, that negative seed in my mind. Um, like even like Nosferatu, for example, right? Like a lot of people were not saying it wasn't that good until like 2 or 3 weeks later, people were saying it's amazing, and I just went in there and said I'm just gonna watch it for the sake of watching it. Um, so with this new Superman film, I watched the trailer. It was very nostalgic with the guitar riffs and everything. You know, it hit a couple what's the word?
Nostalgic notes.
Nostalgic. Thank you. Yeah, those nostalgic notes. And besides the suit, in all honesty, I think the trailer looked good, really good. Actually, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It got me excited for the movie. I just can't like that suit. That I don't know. I just compared if I compare that to like what Henry was wearing, especially in the BVS version, because the Man of Steel I think was a good Superman suit, but the BVS was even better with like the whole Kryptonian writing and everything in it. I just can't get on board with that suit, but hopefully I haven't seen enough of the new actor yet to judge, but you know, I'm just gonna go into it with a positive mind and make my own opinion before I make that final judgment because of a trailer.
For sure.
Yeah, that's
I've seen some collectors recently saying that they hope the figure comes with purrs so that they can put them in opposite directions in their display.
Just to counter a point there, Jay, would you be a fairly good, like, have you ever like seen a trailer that you're like, this looks terrible, and went to see it and you're like, wow, I was so wrong. This is a mind-blowing movie, or vice versa? Like, how often, like, I find personally, like, I find like when I watch a trailer and I'm like, I'm getting a bad vibe off this. Usually I'm right. Like, do you know what I mean? Have you ever had that like experience where a trailer, you're like, oh, I'm not impressed with this trailer, but then you're like, I'm so wrong. I'm putting you on the spot here now. Sorry, but like,
Peaky Blinders is one of those shows for me, Shane. I watched the trailer for Peaky Blinders several times to try and be like, okay, what's the hype? Why people like this so much? And then the trailer for the show never hooked me, and then the show itself I've loved.
Love Peaky Blinders. Love that show.
Yeah, the show I find, but even I find the show, I don't think I ever watched the trailer for the show. You're talking about the trailer on Netflix, like?
Yeah, like leading up to.
Yeah.
Oh well, no, this was way back when like the show was originally
right, yeah.
announced. Like
No,
this was
I
this
found
is what the show's gonna be.
I wasn't on board with the show really until like maybe mid to halfway through the first season, but I'm kind of like that. I do like to give things a chance. Like, if I give up on Breaking Bad, where would I be? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so slow the first season. Like,
but if I'd given up in Game of Thrones, I would have saved myself the heartache of season 8.
True.
And you know,
but you know, movies are
forever is the best show.
Movie trailers, like, they're these days, like, they're designed to get your money. They're designed to show enough, and sometimes, let's face it, they show too much. They're designed to get your money and give you a vibe of the movie. Yep. I just find it's very rare that I don't think I can think of an example like that. I'm like, I don't think I can think of an example of a trailer that looked terrible and then I go see it and I was like, oh, this is mind blowing. I can think of examples where the trailer didn't look great and the movie was better than the trailer, or the other way around. I'm more often the other way around where trailer looks so good and then it disappoints a bit.
That's fair. You know, I think one of the things, and then we'll move on, that stuck out to me with what you just said, Shane, too, is that, you know, if, like you guys were saying, you know, who's seen a bad trailer, loved the movie, or who's seen a trailer they loved and hated the movie. Similarly, things like something so subjective like a Superman outfit. We don't have any context as to whether this is going to be a good movie yet or not. So the outfit won't make it a good movie or not. It may add to your appreciation of it down the line, but it won't necessarily make it a better movie. But if we never got a chance to see this suit until the movie was in front of us playing on the screen and we were already bought in, we were loving the story, and then boom, you see it, that's when I think most people would have actually really liked this suit. I don't think most people would go, oh shit, well, it looks like hell, I hate those underwear, because if they're already in it, they're in it. But at the same time, nowadays you can't keep anything a secret either with the internet, so it's like, I don't know how they control that message.
He does, like, what's more important, the suit or what he does with it?
Obviously what he does with it, right?
Like, okay, think about, like, there are some fantastic bands out there that, let's be honest, they kind of have shit names. The Smashing Pumpkins. 9 Inch Nails. I mean, like let's say your 15-year-old nephew comes up to you and like, oh, I'm in a band. Oh, cool. What's your band name? The Smashing Pumpkins. You never they weren't a thing. You're like, oh, that's a great name. You know what I mean? But it's the music that makes the name acceptable or cool. Rage Against the Machine.
Tool.
Okay, that's kind of a cool one, right? Yeah, Tool, exactly. So like, it's the Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman. First time I saw that suit, and I was like, where is he going with that high collar? But the suit grew on me because of what he did with it and the action scenes and stuff. So, look, I'll go see the movie. We'll see what happens.
Very well said, guys. Let us know what your thoughts on this are. That took longer than I expected on this one, but I think it was a great discussion. So thank you, boys, for that. Really quick, over the next couple of weeks here, we are going to be getting a chance to see both Daredevil Born Again getting started up, as well as Captain America and the, what's it called? The New World Order or First World Order. I can never remember the title. I feel like they've changed it several times at this point. But both have the potential for some 6-scale collecting. For me, I think I'm most heavily anticipating at this point Daredevil. I've been rewatching the Netflix series. Just got through the first season again. Awesome season. I remember really enjoying the third season, and I remember being somewhat lukewarm on the second season. But Charlie Cox as Daredevil, Matt Murdock is a badass. I kind of hope that we'll even get a chance to see that black outfit again in figure format at some point from the first season. With the bandana, the one that So Toys made all those years ago, but maybe something a little bit upgraded. But even still, obviously, look at all the different colors and cowls that he could get here. And then, of course, like we said, Red Hulk is going to be coming. We now know what he kind of looks like here a lot more. I think it's a little off-putting how much he looks like Harrison Ford, which is kind of funny. He looks really like Harrison Ford, like just get off my plane, kind of feel. But at the same time, I'm also excited for the future of collecting with regards to this film, if it does well. But I'd be curious, guys, because again, Marvel has been under the hot seat for a long time already. A lot of people have said, nah, lost my love for Marvel. If this movie is bad, and if Daredevil's not great, what do you think that means for the future of both collecting, but also of Marvel television and films? Jay, I'll go to you first on this one. Mysterio, what are your thoughts?
Ooh. Well,
loaded question.
Winter Soldier is actually one of my favorite Marvel movies. It's up there with Infinity War, because it has like that kind of that spy espionage double agent kind of thing going on. Compared to the other Marvel movies, it was more grounded, per se,
For sure.
in comparison. So I'm really excited for this one, actually. So a bunch of friends and I are all going to watch this movie together. I bought out a whole entire row at the theater, and we're going to watch it before opening night. We have a screening time for the day before the actual release of it, because I hate spoilers. Facebook is terrible for that.
Yeah.
So super excited. And figure wise, I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people are hunting that original Hulk, right, with the torn shorts. So if they could make that, and with the new technologies of making the head sculpts and the paint applications, if they can make it look even better than that, those two first editions of Hulk, and also I guess Gladiator Hulk, I think it's going to be a hit, especially if this movie is going to be a hit. If this movie is even close to how good Winter Soldier was, I think it's going to be really successful. The Falcon, his suit design is a bit more blue than white than it was in the previous show. So I think people are going to want that as well, because it's a big enough difference to upgrade or to change out the Falcon that's in their current collection.
True.
So, and now with Daredevil, kind of coming off of the rated R Deadpool bandwagon, I'm pretty excited. So, I was kind of like second guessing how Deadpool was going to be, Deadpool and Wolverine. Now that has come out, it's like, what direction are they going to take Daredevil? Because we know that they're capable of that rated R, making it gory, making it, action packed and brutal, right? Especially with Punisher coming back. How are they going to fulfill and make happy those old fans from back in the Netflix days going into Disney? So they have to marry that really, really well to get the audience engaged and at least, super intrigued somehow, some way. I mean, the trailer did that pretty good for me, anyways. It got me to got me really excited for that show to come out. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Any is there any collectible, like any character you're like, I'm gonna have to have that in my collection, like a Red Hulk or a Daredevil, before you even seen the content? Is there anything that you're like already making space for on the shelf?
I would probably say Daredevil and Punisher. I didn't get the first two when they first got released. It just never captured me quite yet to consider grabbing those figures. But now that we've been involved with their characters a lot longer now, with a couple of the seasons coming out, and then the movement from Netflix to Disney, and if they execute this one well enough, I'll definitely be pre-ordering for sure.
Hell yeah. No, well said. And I've got the Punisher and Daredevil in my collection, and they're great figures, but they definitely could use some upgrading love, in my opinion. But it was interesting because even the yellow suited Daredevil that we got recently from the She-Hulk, I actually didn't think that the Charlie Cox like mouthplate looked that great. So I'm hoping that they continue to tweak him in the cowl, especially if we get another one. I never loved John Bernthal's Punisher. I didn't hate it, but I was always a Thomas Jane guy. I even liked Ray Stevenson's Punisher Warzone. I just don't
Dolph
like
Lundgren.
John's. Yeah, I don't love John's face. I know that sounds horrible to say, but he's just got one of those faces that I have a hard time getting on board with. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Shane, what are your thoughts here, buddy, on Daredevil approaching, as well as the Captain America film? What are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking is the future of Marvel if this doesn't go so well? Because there's lots still in the slot, like Fantastic Four and others.
I will try to get through this in like 30 seconds. I watched the 3 seasons of Daredevil a few years back. Remember thinking it was good. Wasn't over the moon about it, but I remember thinking it was good, and I liked Charlie Cox playing the role, and I'm glad they're keeping him on. Started rewatching the show again. I don't think I'm going to have it all rewatched before this comes out, but yeah, I'm definitely going to give this a watch. Captain America 4. Yeah, it's kind of like what Mike said in the chat. Falcon and the Winter Soldier preceding this film has definitely killed my hype for the film. But look, I've yet to go back and rewatch any of the Disney Plus TV shows. I think they're rubbish. I'm just not a fan. And with this here, I'll go see it. I like what's it, Anthony Mackie, and I think he looks kind of cool in the suit, and I'll go watch the movie with an open mind. Everyone's saying it's going to bomb, but I saw the trailer. I thought it was all right. So, but I've heard it's been plagued with reshoots and stuff like that. But look, I'm gonna go watch it. If worst case scenario, it's a popcorn movie, and that's it.
Yeah,
Very little hype. But
I'd be disappointed if it. I'd be disappointed if it doesn't like get people actually going again, because at the same time, I like, as much as I like Anthony Mackie, I don't feel like he has the same star power for me as Chris Evans did in the Captain America suit. Like, he's still Steve Rogers is Captain America, is Steve Rogers is Captain America. Like that. That's just how I've always felt. And so it has nothing to do with Anthony Mackie. I think his performance has been fantastic, but he's never felt like Cap to me. And I liked him as the Falcon, so it's harder for me to get on board with him being Captain America. It's more all of the other side characters there that are in this film that I'm excited to see, like a Red Hulk.
That was one of the parts of the Winter Soldier I thought they did well. Him wrestling with, like, man, I got some big boots to fill here. So even he's feeling like that, like, which is, the world looks at Steve Rogers and then, like, he's their hero, and then now he's like, I got to step into that role. He's feeling like that too. Do you know what I mean? Like the character. So I hope they kind of play up on that, and then he comes through and does something, saves the world, whatever. Like, but look, I want to go see it. It feels like a big movie. I don't see it being in the same league as the Winter Soldier or Civil War, to be honest. But look, I'm gonna go see it with an open mind. I thought the trailer was alright.
Yeah, see, I feel like for me, it's always one of those things too. Is your expectation going to be? Is it going to outweigh your reality no matter what? Like, because like that's how I felt even for stupid example, but Beetlejuice. I was like, well, maybe Beetlejuice will be better than the original because I freaking love the original, and it wasn't. And I was like, you see, I knew it wasn't going to be as good. But I'm like, okay, but was I just putting it up on a pedestal too much? Is like, will anything ever beat Captain America and the Winter Soldier? Probably not, because
Do you
that has
honestly
already
think-
happened and is given us the love.
It's an unfair comparison because it's kind of
It is.
like with Beetlejuice, like you're putting a new movie up against what 30 years of nostalgia and little member berries and that warm squishy feeling you have when you watch it. It's big boots to fill, like or like, do you ever think you're going to go see an MCU movie? Genuine. Do you ever think you're going to see an MCU movie again where the hype level and quality level is as good as, say, Endgame?
No.
I don't think so either, man. And
No.
I want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong. And like some of No Way Home has been, I think, that standard, maybe slightly below it, but like it's been high. Deadpool and Wolverine was a great watch and I love it, but I know it's not on that level. So yeah, I'll still.
But
go
that's
see
part of the
movie.
reason I'm so excited for the DC reboot, because I'm kind of hoping that a reboot of that universe creates that love for me again. Whereas Marvel, like, I would hate to see them reboot it because they've had just so much content up to this point, still so much planned. And yet, I think without a reboot, people will never get back to that level of love and hype that they once had. So it's a double-edged sword in that way. Pete, last but not least, and then we're going to move into some 6-scale news. What do you guys, or what did you think about Red Hulk here? Your boy Harrison Ford. I know you're a big Harrison fan.
Yeah. Daredevil, not really interested at all. I know a lot of people love Daredevil, but I've never really had any interest in that character. I was just chatting with my missus today about whether or not I can be bothered to go to the cinema to see the Captain America. I just feel like I haven't got that hype, that sense of excitement about going to see Marvel now. As Shane says, Deadpool Wolverine was great, but I think it very much lived in its own little bubble. I'm really hopeful that Fantastic Four will be brilliant, because I do really love Fantastic Four, and I actually quite enjoyed the previous efforts, even the really old ones. I think so. I think that's got potential to kind of sort of re-kickstart. But yeah, this can I just ask a question, Ben? Why would Red Hulk not look like Harrison Ford when he's being played by Harrison Ford?
I never really thought. So I like the Edward Norton Hulk movie more than like some of the newer representations of Hulk. But like, I'm an Incredible Hulk guy. I didn't think that Hulk looked like Edward Norton. I didn't even really think that regular Hulk looked like Mark Ruffalo until kind of later. I think it was Age of Ultron, I think, is when he started to look a little bit more like it.
Neanderthal version of Mark.
Yeah, right. Whereas, like, to me, this looks just like Harrison Ford in a red Hulk body. I don't like something about it that's just like, it's a little bit too on the nose.
Dude,
but because
it's
he's
Harrison
such star
Ford.
power.
Yeah,
exactly. He's got such star
Yeah.
power. You can't not make him look like Harrison Ford, right? So
And he's grumpy
I
looking
don't
at the
hate
best
it. I
of
just don't
times.
like. Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd made the joke, right? The get off my plane thing, because like that, like I put this into an AI generator just to see what the photo would look like, and it just spit out what looks like Harrison Ford. It didn't even make him red. They just thought he was angry. And like, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I think it's his style. It's not enough to drag me to the cinema. I don't think. I'm pretty happy to wait for this on Disney Plus. As much as I do love Harrison, I'll just say that picture on the right. I know we were talking about the size of the forehead on that Winter Soldier figure, but look at his forehead. Damn, man, he looks like he's been
also
squished.
I also think that's an AI generated photo. Speaking of AI generated, it's like
probably.
way too smooth. You know what I mean? Something's weird about it. I don't,
And the
I
other
don't
thing
trust it.
that you guys have said, Anthony Mackie fine. I think he was good as Falcon. My issue with him being Captain America is he doesn't have any. Falcon, he had the suit, and the suit did the work for him. He's just a normal human. He's not, he's not a superhuman. So how is he managing to function as Captain America to the same level that Steve Rogers was when he had the super serum? So I just don't know how a normal person could be doing that.
Maybe that's
From my-
part of this. Maybe that's
Yeah.
okay, he was wrestling over taking the serum in the Disney Plus show, and maybe now it's like, okay, the only way I can beat this big red angry Harrison Ford is I need to do this for the world or whatever, like, you know what I mean?
think
And
so, yeah.
maybe it's justified. And sure, the serum, from what I understand, if you're an asshole, it makes you more of an asshole. And if you're a good person, it makes you, like, you know, more of a, it gives you a stronger sense of, the qualities that are already there, or the characteristics that are already. So, like, maybe that's how he. I don't know. In the comic books, did he ever take the serum? I'm not sure about.
I don't know if he took the serum in the comics, but what I do remember from the comics is, like, when you think about, like, Planet Hulk or World War Hulk, you know, the Hulk, whether it's red or green, can overpower most superheroes. I think the only one that actually even stands a chance is Sentry, and Sentry is like a wildly overpowered, like, godlike character, right? Which I think would be amazing. I think that we could see an introduction of Sentry either in this or even in Thunderbolts, maybe a bit of both, in order to combat something like the Red Hulk. Because I don't think that even Steve Rogers' Captain America could hold up against a Red Hulk or a Green Hulk and actually survive that battle. I think that they need to have something else that's more overpowered that we've never seen before. And I think Sentry is the only character that could actually do that. But no guarantees. I don't know if Sentry's in it. I have no idea, but that's my comic book prediction gone movie. And let's see if this video ages well. We'll find out. So, but guys, let us know what your thoughts are. Are you excited for Daredevil? Are you excited for, of course, seeing Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk in the Captain America film? I am definitely going to see both. I am jealous, Jay. I thought we were friends, that you get to go early. You know, you'll have to let me know how it is and whether it's worth buying the ticket for, okay? But guys, we have 60 to 70 people watching live with us today. Get Nuts on Sunday. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're enjoying the discussion today. Of course, we are going to say hello to everybody, and then we're going to get into some 6-scale news before Pete has to flip me off with the bird and go to bed. So, without further ado, let's say hi to everybody.
Is that everyone? I can want it more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
Nuts assemble. Let's say hi to everybody real quick here. We got lots of folks joining us today. We got King Dingaling in the chat with us. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. We got Curtis Booth with a woohoo. Love to see you, buddy. Good to have you here. We got Trevor Weed in the chat, my Star Trek buddy. Good to see you here, my friend. Thanks for being here. Of course, Brick Artemis. If you are not already subscribed to Brick Artemis, he is the Spider-Man master. And a good dude, so make sure you go and subscribe to him over there. We got Caffeinated Comic Fan in the chat as well. Says, anyone worried about the tariff stuff for our internationally shipped collectibles? Definitely, especially being here in Canada. I have no idea what that's going to look like. Most of my stuff comes from Sideshow, which is out of the States, so I'd be shocked if that did not hit us. But we could chat about that if we got a little time at the end of the show. Rachel Miller, my mom, of course, in the chat. Make sure you say hello to her as well. Moose, 12-inch Moose Dream, she is taken. Just making sure you still remember. Big Rip in the chat with us here. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. We got Clinton Martin in the chat, of course, with the howdy folks. We got Ryan Dean. Good to see you here, buddy. He says, happy Sunday Nut Day, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good one. Of course, we are a good sir. We got Mark P in the chat. What's up, collectors? Good to see you, buddy. Jose Plus. Make sure you go subscribe to Jose Plus's YouTube channel as well. He's been doing some good stuff over there and helping Shane on your Monday show sometimes with the Hope Show as well, buddy, and all the good things there. We got 12-inch Moose Dream in the chat. He says, hello, community of collectors. Ordered 60s Housekeeper, aka 66 Alfred from Kit. I say ordered since mine has shipped. That is pretty sweet. I am jealous. Good sir. I know there's been a little bit of controversy on that figure this week as well. But we got Tijuana Mike, aka King Churro. Good to see you, buddy. One of our channel members here as well. Thanks for being here. We got Pop Culture Relics here as well. Luis, good to see you, my friend. Hopefully you get that Joker coming in soon so we can take a look at it together. That'd be fun. Mike Latoris here with a Nuttastic. Good to see you, buddy. We got Johnny Rico in the chat there as well. Thanks for coming in, my friend. We got Big Dog Pound 1 with a woo to everybody there. I'm losing my voice, so can't do it any louder than that, but that was for you, Big Dog Pound. Mike Latoris in the chat with us, of course. We got Blurred Dad Life, one of our channel members. Great to see you. Of course, 16-figure Focus Shane is with us in the chat as well as in the panel. We got Danny Lee here. I haven't seen Danny in a while. Hope you're doing well, buddy, out there in the world. And keeping well, my friend. Good to see you. We got Mitchell Lawrence in the chat as well. Transhumanism. I think we figured it out that it was transcendence for that film there as well. Mysterio Meowdix here on the chat as well as in the panel. Love to see it. We got Andre in the chat there as well. Can you stop it? I have no idea what you're referring to, so unfortunately we probably continued on with it. You hate to see it. We got JB in the chat with us as well, going off on laser beam tangent. Oh, yes, his eyes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
100%. Both directions. That's right. We got JB in the chat with us as well. Make sure we got Field Burn in the chat. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, my friend. I saw you on a panel the other night. So making your rounds out on the interwebs. Love to see it. We got Andre in the chat. Says, yeah, some people get negative frame of mind, and I think they forget how to be positive over time. I'm sure online doesn't help them get some perspective. I think sometimes it's fun to hate watch things, right? I've got hate watching viewers. Every single Let's Get Nuts, I get at least one dislike for whatever reason it is. It's just somebody comes in and dislikes it every single time.
That's me.
Yeah, okay, that makes way more sense, honestly. So, speaking of, we got, as I said, 60 people here. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button, it definitely drives traffic to the show. Would be very, 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 very appreciated. We got S Beam in the chat with us. Hans Zimmer score of Man of Steel. Hans Zimmer is my guy. I love all of his work. I listen to the Dark Knight soundtrack sometimes literally just on the way to work, and it really amps me up. We got Jagron 2 in the chat. I think that's Lane Kramer. Good to see you, buddy. I think it's funny that nobody can pronounce your new YouTube name. You love to see it. We got Charleston Jew in the chat. Superman killing Zod didn't bother me. Leveling half of Metropolis did. That's fair. But I mean, I've always loved things like Godzilla movies where Godzilla takes out half the city as well, and there's still an element of that I think is kind of fun, but I get what you're saying. Batman _collectibles here. Gunn hates Keaton, Batman, so I hate Gunn. I hope the universe fails. I said what I said. I didn't know that. For me, I guess that could be fake news. I have no idea. So how could you hate Keaton's Batman though? That's just wild. Let's see here. Did I miss anybody? Oh, we got Equan in the chat with us as well. Good to see you. Also known as Rulk for Red Hulk. You'll love to see that. Let me just double check. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. We got Summers Fam in the chat with us. Hey, Ben and everyone. A little late, just got off work here. Been there since 4 a.m. Oh my God, sounds horrible. Thank you for being here with us. We got SpongeBob Square Balls in the chat with us as well. Good to see you. Classy, I hope you're feeling good. We had Classy on the show a couple weeks back. Had some fun with him there. He was whispering all ASMR like to everybody, and everybody was loving it. So I love to see it. We got Mr. Masashi in the chat with us as well. Hey, Bennett Crew, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. And Collection Obsession, of course, wouldn't be a show without you, buddy. 12-inch Moose Stream. When did that Alfred go out for pre-order? I kept checking every day. I think it was on 1/6 kit that I saw it, but something I can't tell you, honestly. I missed it entirely. So guys, for some quick housekeeping, if you are interested, our channel membership badges are up on the screen. Most of our channel members are getting into the Bub Nut series now, but we need some new folks out there. So if anybody's interested, definitely become a member. I will put the link in, of course, the chat there for you right now. These are some of our membership emojis as well, so just make sure you guys crush the nut button today for me. Smash that, or of course, be a nutbuster. Be a nutbuster for Jay specifically, because he was hoping for that. I'm pretty confident. So I'm just kidding. I just put him on the spot. You hate to see it. Guys, let's move on to the 6 scale news here. We are an hour and 13 minutes into the show. We got a new this week from Pete. Pete, tell us about what we're looking at on the screen.
Yeah, so I picked up the Hot Toys Dewback from Star Wars: A New Hope. Absolutely love him. He's certainly got some shelf presence. So just thought I'd
huge dude.
Pop a picture. And yeah, it's brilliant. And this is the deluxe one. So all I've done is I've swapped out the open mouth, the closed mouth. I think it looks the open mouth looks, it's good, but it looks a little bit goofy. So I prefer the closed mouth look. But yeah, it wasn't a pre-order. It was just to kind of just to spur the moment. I'd seen the blogger pics, and I just yeah, I just had to have it. So I ordered it from Toys by an agent. It came in. I think it took 5 days to come in, really quick. No customs or anything, bits and pieces, because that would have been horrible if that had been on the top. Because it wasn't cheap anyway. But yeah, if anyone is thinking of picking one up, it's it's a nice piece, and it's sitting above my A New Hope shelf. So it's really love it.
Your picture has one of the more natural sitting positions I've seen from the Trooper so far. I've seen a couple people get that thing on there, and it looks like they've had to break the figure on top, like crab.
Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we, on OFAC on Thursday, Shane? And they tended to just kind of like have the legs just sort of straight out.
Yeah.
It wasn't too difficult to get it like that. He sits quite far back in the. I don't really know what the point of having the. Well, my looks like an upside down Ewok legs at the front there. It's like because you'd think they'd sit up against that to kind of brace themselves,
but upside down Ewok.
Yeah,
yeah,
teddy bear legs. But where the stirrups for their feet, they're quite a way back on the. So you can't have him sit much more forward than that because of the stirrups and because of the bags and everything. So he kind of sits back there. But I didn't find it too difficult to. I think it's just about getting a little bit of bend in the knee, and just maybe flexing the foot a bit. I mean, the problem with it is all of the armor pieces all ride up, and they don't. So you kind of got to play around with those a little bit. But I was confident that I could at least get something better than what had been done in the blogger picks. And this is the old Sand, so this is the 10-year-old original Sand Trooper. So I don't know if there's any difference at all.
Oh, okay.
You would think there shouldn't be. I haven't.
Did you just get you just got the creature then? Like
yeah.
Didn't come with. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, because I already had the Sand Trooper anyway.
It, yeah.
I wasn't too bothered about spending another £200 on the Sergeant. But I don't know if they're exactly the same because obviously at some point it should be the same molds. But it'd be interesting. I haven't seen a side by side to see whether it's exactly the same or whether there's any reason why you can't pose the new one a bit more naturally than it's been shown. So
I think for the purpose of this is amazing. Like this looks fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with it. With the sitting up there on the shelf above me and
crazy.
What'd
your family think of it? What'd your family think of it?
Actually, my wife didn't mind it. I think she normally hates anything that I get in, but she thought it was quite cool. I mean, obviously, I haven't discussed the price that I paid for it with her, but she knows it's not cheap. And my son thought it was awesome as well. So he's a big Star Wars fan. So so it's always nice to have these big sort of spectacular pieces, and I'm lucky enough to have the Inbox Studio Wampa and a Tauntaun and a DeLorean. So this guy, this is my space that I could have had an 89 Batmobile, but I like the Dewback. So.
That's fair. No, congratulations, dude. This looks awesome. And again, kudos on the pose. That was the first thing I noticed when the picture popped up in the feed today. I was like, okay,
cool.
this looks super weird. But I also think it's amazing how big this creature clearly is to make that figure look that small up on top like that. It really just blows me away.
Yeah, he's big. He's about 1 meter long.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah.
That's pretty cool. Shane, have you got anything new in the last week or so, or Jay?
No. The last two figures I got were the in-art Superman and in-art Robert Pattinson Batman.
Your Joker's not coming, Shane. I know you were expecting those on Friday, weren't you?
Yeah, they had a bit of an issue with them. I don't know if it's an issue or not an issue, but all was going well. I got the tracking, it arrived into the country. Usually it kind of goes to a sorting centre in Dublin, then goes to a local sorting centre here in the town I'm living in 5 minutes away, and the next day it gets delivered. Everything's gone according to plan. It arrived in Dublin, then maybe about a week ago arrived in the local centre, and then I noticed it went back to Dublin, which is a red flag. So I was like, okay, what's going on, and so I put it into I track using Aftership. It's so handy. It's like you cut and paste all the tracking numbers, pop them into this one app, so you can track all your stuff on one app. It's free. It's so easy to use. Aftership, great app, recommend. And I was like, okay, I tracked it on the actual Irish Postal Service one, and I got the exact same information. And then I clicked on a little thing called customs charge, and it was like, okay, maybe it's a big box. So he might have put down a value, so maybe I owe a few quid in it. And it said, I put in the tracking number. Now, bear in mind, I've got when I rarely do have to pay customs, I get a text or I get an email. You know what I mean? I got nothing, or even a piece of paper in the door. I got nothing. But it said, the customs charge due on this item, that the date has passed to pay it, so it's been returned to sender. And I had the actual name of the guy, Lion Rock Toys, who runs Lion Rock Toys, and I was like, what the hell? So I went on the live chat and I explained everything, and I was like, I didn't get any notification to pay customs. If I did, I would have paid it, and if I got sent something, show me what I was sent, because I know I haven't got any. I've checked my junk and everything. And they're like, no, it's a computer error, and that will be sent out next week. So hopefully all going well, be next week. But yeah, we don't know who's working in those call centers or whatever. They'll be like, yeah, I'll be fine, and it won't be. So I'll believe it. Believe it when I see it. Like so.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Jay, anything new in the collection for you this week, bud?
Not in the week, but I had because of the postal strike here in Canada, I had 4 figures basically come in within a week of each other. So I had the in-art Batman, in-art Superman, the Admiral Thrawn, and then I got the John Wick Chapter 4. But just to piggyback on what Shane was saying, that's the worst, is when they don't tell you you have duties or anything like that. What happened to me actually one time was it went into collections, and that's how I found out about it. They sent me a piece of mail saying this thing has been in here for X amount of months and it's now in collections and you have to pay it off. And I'm going, where's the evidence that you sent me anything, right? And same thing, it was a computer error. Even on like my FedEx account and also on Canada Post, there was nothing there. There was nothing posted. What? So it dinged my credit, and I basically called the retention line, and they said, you guys are, this is BS, complete BS, and you're screwing with my life now because this isn't collection, it's showing up on my credit. So they basically did the best that they can to rectify the whole situation, and I still had to work hard to get that off the credit check. Unfortunately, there was nothing they could do about it because it was already sent there. But so
what does that mean? So you basically got stabbed for bad credit because you hadn't paid a outstanding bill or something like that.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Crazy. And when collecting bleeds into your real life, eh?
That's supposed to be fun, guys. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna give me life problems, and I can't get a house mortgage because of this. Thanks, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, like if it's your fault, fine, you'll own it. But when it's someone else's incompetence and it kind of then affects you, no, I'm not down for that. That's not cool.
No.
Yeah, that's fair. I did get a notification from Sideshow 2 days ago, and I was like, "Oh, I don't even know what's shipping. Like, why? What is it?" And I forgot that I'd put in a claim for my Beetlejuice head on my Sideshow figure that had come, because I did the review. But when I was doing the review with under the light box and everything, I noticed he had a really bad chip right on the tip of his nose. And it was driving me nuts. So I, everybody was like, "Oh, just message Sideshow and they'll take care of you." And they did. Honestly, I sent them a quick picture, quick note, and they've sent me another head sculpt in the mail. So that's coming for me this week. But I was excited. I was like, "Ooh, what figure did I not realize is coming out?" Not the case. Just a replacement. So now, guys, I'll say this week was lighter on news. We got a few more 6scale things that I want to go through, but I did put out kind of the bat signal to the community, at least in terms of our channel members this week, and said, hey, if anybody wants to ask us a question on the panel this week, this is a good week to do it because there's not a ton of new toy news. And King Dingaling, one of our channel members, did send in a question. I'm thinking I'm going to do that every week. So everybody watching right now, and maybe I'll open it beyond members, or I can keep it with members if the engagement's good. But if I'm not getting enough member questions, I'm going to put it out to everybody. So you guys have been warned. But anytime you guys want, to ask us a show appropriate question, I know other channels rely on super chats for that. I like trying to, engage with the community up to a certain extent. Super chats are always appreciated, but not required in order for us to generate some fun discussion here. So King Dingling said, have you ever regretted selling a 6 scale figure, and what was it? Would you consider buying it back or wait for a 2.0? The only figure that I feel a little bit of regret for selling is actually my Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I just shipped it to Classy Thomas like a week ago.
And
now that it's been out of my collection for a week, I'm like, God damn it! Now I kind of miss that figure a little bit. But like you said, it's going to Classy. I know he'll be happy for it, and I sold it for a very good reason. I'm trying to, I've got a lot of favorite characters in the world, a lot of nostalgia, but I don't necessarily need every favorite. I need to start really figuring out what the direction of my collection looks like. So I was able to move on. I'm also secretly hoping that eventually we'll get the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film version, like his younger self, maybe from the first film. Could be wishful thinking, but we'll find out. What about you guys? Do any of you guys have any answer for King Dingling here on this one?
I don't think so. I've sold hundreds of figures. I've always had a kind of getting figures in, see what they're like in hand, having them on display for a bit, and if they're not, like you said, if they're not pulling at my heartstrings, my nostalgia, my 80s kind of thing, then I'll move them on quite quickly. And it always makes me laugh when you see people that sell and rebuy the same figure 3 or 4 times over. I mean, Ian's done it. I think Ian's done it with with that Arkham Origins Batman, and I don't think I've ever regretted, because I've always, whenever I've sold, it's because I don't have that connection to it. I'm not, let's say about, if it doesn't bring you joy kind of thing. Or I've upgraded, so I've sold a Sideshow version because a Hot Toys version came out and everything. So there's definitely nothing that I've sold and rebought directly. And I don't think so. I think, I'm happy with, I think my collection's evolved, and I'm really happy with where it is at the moment. And there's not anything really that I look back and go, because I sold all my Marvel off and everything. So that was a choice over space and things like that. And, there were some good figures there. Iron Man, Hulk. Yes, they were lovely figures. Yes, if I had unlimited space, I'd still have them back. But I don't think I regret selling those, because it works for me.
Well said, well said. Before I go to you, Shane, I just want to shout out a couple people here. We got 12-inch Moose Stream with his super chat of the 12-month membership, 1 year. Being a tough nut, good sir. Thank you so much for your support. Definitely appreciate it. He says, Eternal Catwoman, what does it say? RECD? I don't know what he's trying to say here. I apologize, Moose. Expect Deadpool to get some cat tail. Okay. Sounds naughtier than maybe you intended, but I'm going to take that as naughty. Moose. So, we got 6 Scale Mafia, our good buddy Anthony in the chat with us as well, celebrating 13 months. Wow. 13, regret, Generoso Deluxe. Kind of missed that one. Yeah, I can see why. It's hard to see if we'll ever get a reissue of that one again. So maybe for some people they're saying, no, don't even say those words, Ben. What about you, Shane? Anything that you've ever regretted selling? And by the way, kudos to your collection tour. I just had a chance to finally watch that the other night. Really, really well done. Looking really crispy.
Oh,
dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's the one I'm most proud of. That's the Mark IV collection tour, and really happy how everything looks behind me and downstairs and everything. So yeah, lots of gratitude. Typically when I have sold figures, I know it's for reasons to kind of like Pete has said and stuff like that, and usually fairly now this needs to go. But there's one that I've sold which it's definitely not gone into the regret yet, but it's kind of like I wasn't 100% on this one, and that was the Kenobi Vader, the deluxe version. It is outstanding. It's a great figure. I had the Return of the Jedi 40th in. Can you see it there?
One sec.
It's there.
Hey,
there.
You go. Nice.
Yeah, he bald. Yeah, so bald. I have the next. That's like the original trilogy shelf or whatever. So yeah, I when the 40th Return of the Jedi came in, I got rid of that one, and I was like, this is an epic figure. I'm not sure about this, so I don't regret it yet. But if I do, I just buy back.
Just buy it back. Anything for you, Jay, that's that stuck out for you? You got quite the collection behind you. Anything that you've regretted selling?
Yeah, the Iron Man Mark 6 and
Ooh.
the original War Machine Mark 1 diecast. Those two, well, quick story. So usually what I'll do is I'll buy a figure, for example, like Wonder Woman, and then there's going to be new iterations or new versions of that particular character. So that's kind of like my rule of thumb on some characters, where I'll have one of each. And then if there's a version that comes out that I like, that I prefer over the one that I already have, then sure, I'll upgrade it, right? With the Mark 6 Iron Man and the Mark 1 War Machine, I just ran out of room, unfortunately. I had a Hulkbuster already, and I had the Mark 85. So I'm kind of looking at my shelf going, I love the Mark 6 design. I love the pairing from Iron Man 2. What do I do? So after a lot of contemplating, I basically just said, screw it. I'm going to let it go. And there's that part of me that's saying, get it back.
Yeah.
That's the big one for me, was those two, especially because they were originals too. They weren't the reissues or the 2.0s. They were the OG diecast. So yeah,
that's fair. Did you say it was the Mark 1 War Machine, or were you saying the Mark 1 Iron Man? Sorry, I missed that.
Mark 1 War Machine and the Mark 6 Iron Man. Yeah.
Just so you know, I am selling my Mark 1 reissue War Machine. I'm just putting it out there. I'll give you a good figure discount if you're interested. No pressure. Just sell on the screen here. You hate to see it. So no, great ones though. And like as I said, I try not to regret, but I also, I think the times that I've regretted buying has been the ones that I've not done my research on. I've told the story of Jedi Patrol, saying that Batman Begins or Batman Beyond figure from the video game series was going to go waitlist, and it's the coolest figure you've ever seen, and you're never going to be able to find one again. And so I immediately bought it without looking at any of the specs on it. Didn't realize that he was head and shoulders above my DX12 Batman. Looked really weird in the display, and while it's a cool figure, I just didn't have the connection to it that I thought that I would. And I remember selling it, and then I saw Jeddah putting his post out that he sold his too, and everybody was selling them, and I was just like,
that's a you problem, dude.
It is.
That is such 100%. A you problem. That's just
100%.
Like I'm glad you recognize it's a you problem.
That was FOMO. That was FOMO. That was being led down the path and being allowed to be led. Totally agree. Yeah, do your homework. Don't be a Ben. That's the moral of today's story. Guys, I want to move us on here because I want to make sure my panelists get some sleep tonight, especially by our friends overseas there. Jazz Inc. Has teased on a YouTube video a Bat computer setup, of course, from the Affleck Batman. I think this looks pretty freaking cool. Not my Batman necessarily. I will say that if I was going to get myself a computer display setup for Batman, I think it would have to be the Keaton Universe computers. I think those ones stood out to me the most, because otherwise I really like the look of the Armory setups that are coming with the Christian Bale Batman. So like, I think for me, like, I'm going to hold out hope that one day maybe Hot Toys gives us that computer setup that they teased when that Keaton 89 Batman was reissued there, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago already. But Shane, I know you're a big Batman guy. I was curious if you had any specific like dream Batman setup in your mind's eye for your future display.
Ben, I'm such a realist. Like, this collection, this is the space I have. I'm never gonna get a bigger space. Like, I've got the tumbler down below there with the Batman Begins with all the custom parts and stuff like that. So I'm kind of, maybe I could push the tumbler over and get a back computer in there, but like, yeah, I don't think so. Do you know what, the one I would be looking at is that Keaton one that was teased a few years back from Sideshow, because then you could nearly go, okay, you could put the Jazz Inc. in one of the bottom ones, and then maybe put the back computer over the other side and build it out like that, maybe. But yeah, I think if it was a back computer, seeing as I got the Jazz Inc. 89 on the way, it would make sense and have a homage to the 89 there. So yeah, that'll be the one I'd be kind of looking at. I just don't think they're going to do it.
That's fair. And like, you don't think you'll ever sell your house? You think this is your place for life now? Like
No,
this
I'm
is
ready
this
for
is how
that.
we'll
Man.
always see you?
I'm ready for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No, no,
that's
I don't know, man. It's not, like we're only in the house 3 years. We bought it brand new, and we're just really happy. Like, and yeah, I just I don't know what the future will hold, but like I wouldn't be in a rush to go move and stuff. No.
That's fair. Especially now that you got your 4.0 set up there, right? So,
Yeah, we do, exactly. Yeah.
Jay, what about you? Do you have an ideal Batman setup for your display? I've seen some pretty amazing displays from collectors out there. Is there a Bat computer setup you'd want, or anything along those lines?
Maybe not so much the Bat computer, but more like the armory. The Batman Begins one. I'm surprised they haven't done one yet with the wooden French doors when he opens that up in the cave.
For sure.
I would love to get something like that, but again, it's the space, man. Like these could be, some of these displays could be so big, and when you do see them, when someone reviews them, it's sometimes bigger than you actually thought it was. And you know, every collector's enemy is going to be space. So, I think what they should be doing, or what they could do, is make those types of displays, like this one, for example, modular, so you could display parts of it, like your favorite things, or you could like interchange it. Because even with the dioramas nowadays, they're being modular, and a lot more people are using those kinds of stands and bases, and it makes it a bit more unique because you get to pick and choose what kind of style or look you want to go for. So I think that's a good direction to go to, not just like a set in stone, here's the Bat computer and that's it, work with it, try and do what you can. Like look what InArt did with the with Joker, right? Where you could take off the jail bars, you could remove the bench, you could do a couple things with it. So at least that way it gives the collectors a few more options. But yeah, it's space is the big thing.
That's fair. Now, Pete, I know you've had jazz pieces in the past. Am I mistaken? Do you still have the Falcon cockpit in
I
the
do.
collection?
Yeah.
Would you say that's your standout diorama piece in your display right now?
Yeah, it is. I think, and I have toyed with selling it because it's very difficult to display. It takes up a lot of room, and you know, if you put it up on the top of a cabinet, you just can't see anything inside. You've got to be able to look down onto it. So it's a difficult one, but I have still got it, and I think I've found somewhere where it's basically right next to me here. So, that's the only jazzing piece I've got. I mean, this does nothing for me. This is basically what I'm looking at now. This is my streaming deck is. You know, it's just a desk with some monitors. Yeah, okay.
Pete is
it's
Batman.
cool if they're if they're live monitors, well, they're running a thing and stuff. But that to me doesn't look that amazing. If I was going to have a Bat computer, it would have to be Keaton, because you'd have like CRT TV monitor screens and stuff.
The Joker popping up on it and stuff.
Yeah, I quite like the sarcophagus thing that he has has his armor in as well. That would be cool. But as Jay said, they start taking up a lot of room, and when the diorama is compromising your space to actually buy the figures, and obviously if you had this, you'd have to have just this with Batman in, or possibly an Alfred. You couldn't then use that space to put other characters in. So I think, I'd love, like Jazz did the whole basically interior of the Falcon, and it was about 6 pieces. But you're looking at the best part of £3,000, and it take up a massive space. I'd love to have it, but wouldn't have the space. So I think for me, I like to have like little diorama pieces. Sometimes I've made little backdrops and stuff, but I think something this big, you've got to be a real diehard, in this case, Batfleck fan, to want to dedicate that much space and money to the look. And let's face it, have they really, did any of those figures ever really nail that? I had the original Batfleck Batman, and I wasn't that impressed with it, and I don't think any of the other ones that have come since have really done that look justice. So I think
because even the 2.0 that people are waiting on, a lot of folks aren't super happy with.
No, I think it's a bit disappointing. So I think
There's
for
the
me,
NR2 coming out.
The Inert one
yeah,
too, yeah. That's
yeah.
teased.
So for me,
Some
yeah,
point
yeah,
in
it
the
would
next 10 years.
definitely be. I would love to have. Like, I've seen these people where they've got like the Bat Cave. They've got the Batmobile, the computer, and all that stuff. I mean, something like that would be incredible. And I'm Keaton all the way. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems pretty obvious to say this even out loud, so I apologize. You guys can kick me in the chat, but like, if space was never an issue, I would love this like diorama displays with every figure that I've got.
Yeah.
Right, because every one of those character has something cool that you could pair it with that would be like, man, this just takes it to a whole other display level. You know, our buddy Six Scale Mafia, he's got some of the best diorama display kind of setups that I've ever seen. You know, like his Stranger Things setup with the arcade games and the pop machines and stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, some of that stuff is so cool. But I just like I can't even look because I know I'll want it in my own.
Yeah,
setup.
man, I
do
get
it.
that. It's you know, it's like the I want one of those arcade machines, but I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna pair with? Like, I have nothing. And then the other day, into my head, like, because I think that same company does the little ghetto blasters, and I think you can Bluetooth them. And I was like, I'm on the edge with that Miles Morales. I just love that streetwear look, and I'm like, if you got that, you could be in the arcade, and you could have the ghetto blaster as well. I was like, that's about like, what's that, like $600-$700 right there? No, stop.
Plus, you got to run power, right? I don't think they're battery. I think you got to run power. So, yeah, no, interesting. I was disappointed to see that Jazz Inc. is sounding like they're moving away from Star Wars, just because, I mean, in my opinion, that's what got them on the map for me was their Star Wars diorama display, setups, right? The Death Star hallways and some of those kind of cool things. The Falcon cockpits and stuff like that, but at the same time, this is what they're licensed for now, right? So
rushed off their feet now with the Warner Brothers license, I think. So it's not surprising, but yeah, it's nice. I suppose it just makes the pieces that they have sold a bit more special, a bit more valuable. I'm not going to complain there.
Makes sense. Guys, I'm going to wrap up our show here in about 15-20 minutes because, again, I want to make sure I'm respecting our panelists here in the chat. But a couple of things I'm going to quickly breeze through. If you guys have any major takes on it, just poke me in the private chat. But otherwise, I'm going to jump mostly to our end piece here. Overall, Wukong has been, or Black Myth Wukong, man, that's hard to say, has been posted up by InArt Collectibles. The reason that I wanted to just highlight this is the video game is cool. If you guys haven't had a chance to try it, I would recommend it. However, it is a Souls-like experience. And so one of the things that I found was that there was crushing difficulty in the game, and they don't give you levels of difficulty. There's no easy mode for the people who just want the story experience. There's one hardness level, and they just devastate you the whole game. And so I only got, I'm not kidding, probably conservatively 15 hours into it before I could not progress any further. The boss battles just got too hard. And now I don't have my same gaming skill that I once had, admittedly. If you give this to like a Dean the Dream Martin, he might have been able to do it better than I could. But for me, it was too hard to be almost too hard to be fun, but so beautiful, and it's such a cool gaming experience that I would still recommend it. If you ever get a chance for like a deep sail, then I would recommend picking it up and playing through it a little bit. Would I say that I loved it enough to buy the character? No, but I do think that they've done an amazing job here, and there's a huge market of people who love the story associated with Black Myth Wukong. So very, very cool. Not for me necessarily, but I definitely wanted to highlight that. And again, if you see the game out there on a deep sale, do it. Because the other piece here is that like all the random characters that could come with this, like some of the imagery in the game and the art style was freaking cool. And they could make some really interesting villains to go along with that character if they really wanted to, especially I'm sure if they had this support. But again, we've seen InArt's schedule recently there at the Will Fox Vacation interview. Hard to know exactly how many figures we're going to get in the next 10 years based on kind of all of the things that they said. So we'll see. But this would be cool to get it in hand. Mars Toys has also decided that they are going to reissue The Housekeeper. I thought this was interesting only because, I know sometimes people get really stirred up by reissues. This guy's been pretty expensive on the secondary market, especially here in Canada. I don't know how it's been for you guys, but I missed on this, and then of course I ended up picking up a Keaton Batman. I've got another Keaton Batman on the way from the returns. This Alfred, Michael Goff, was in all of my childhood Batman films, right? He was in the Keaton-verse. He was in Kilmer's. He was in Clooney's movie even. He was a staple in those movies. And so for me, I think this is one that I will actually like celebrate that there's a reissue and pick this up. I've heard good things. Our buddy Eddie Money Mendez loves this figure. He can't say nothing enough good about it. He's like, it's Hot Toys quality through and through. So this will be one that I pick up. But did any of you guys on the panel see this guy and you're like, okay, now I'm going to make the purchase, or is this still a skip for you guys?
I was tempted. I was hovering over the pre-order because I think it looks fantastic. I love Michael Goff, but I just, again, it's like he's great and it would look good, but I'd end up selling him because I'd want that space for another sort of major character or something like that. But it does look fantastic. I think the likeness is really good. The tailoring on the suit looks great. And the price is really, really good. So I think I was tempted, but I didn't pull the trigger. But yeah, it's cool.
For sure. I'll be curious to see how many folks out there. Let us know, guys, in the chat if you're one of those folks that has this original one and is now feeling kind of frustrated that they are reissuing it. Because again, this guy was kind of slowly going up in value. And when I think about the Collecting Weekly awards show at the end of last year, this guy was up there in people's opinion for pretty amazing figure. So Jay or Shane, did either of you guys pull the trigger on the original or think about the new one, or this one could be a skip for you guys? Skip for you guys.
Neither did I. Like, it looks great for sure, and it's a strong business move. I think like the companies see that there's a big demand for it, so like if instead of the money going to the collector and spiking up the prices, may as well just take it themselves, right, and just reissue it. I mean, it's a Hot Toys move 101 that we all know and probably experience one way or another.
Absolutely. Also, to your point there earlier, Shane, Ryan Dean here says the new Wave Toys Ghetto Blasters are incredible. You can charge them via USB, and sound quality and volume is actually fantastic for the size. It's pretty cool technology.
I'm just looking on Sideshow here now.
Yeah, I will say. Now, this also popped up. I wanted to really quickly address it because I've always tried to do my best to do my homework for the show, and I get it. Sometimes characters come up that people are like, it's cool, but I have no connection to it. So no shade against anybody by any stretch. But I didn't get a chance to talk about this on Collecting Weekly on Tuesday last week because I was horribly sick. And so I watched the boys kind of talk about it. And Dean, my buddy over there, who's the only one that really had much of an opinion on this character. Vi, of course, is from the show Arcane. The reason that I just wanted to quickly highlight it here was if you guys have not watched Arcane, consider it. Honestly, I was not sold that I would like the show because I'm not a huge like anime style person. I think there's some pretty cool artwork that exists, but I wasn't totally sure that I'd like the animation style. I wasn't totally sure that I would even understand the story because I'd never played League of Legends before. None of that is a requirement. What I will say is give the first 3 episodes of season 1 a chance. If you have not done so, I think you are missing a really, really cool show and some amazing character development and some of the most beautiful artistic like representations of characters and art style I've ever seen in a show ever. It's quickly become one of my favorite shows of all time, and it blows me away because I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this, and then I binge watched all 2 seasons in one weekend a couple months back. So definitely worth it. Now, what I will say about Vi here is this was not actually my favorite look for her. This is her final look of episode. I can't remember what episode, but final look of season 2. Whereas Jinx, the only other character that they've made so far for this particular show anyways, because other League of Legends figures have popped up, but not from Arcane. Jinx, it's her season 1 look. This is end of season 2 look for Vi. So they don't actually chronologically make a lot of sense together, but you can't really have the one sister, in my opinion, without the other. I think they both complement each other beautifully. Vi was an absolute badass in the show. She was so good. The development of her character was fantastic, and a really great yin and yang to everything going on with Jinx, which is of course her sister. So I've got Jinx on order. I have not yet put the pre-order in on Vi, but I think I will because I loved the show. Honestly, I totally would recommend it. But give you guys the chance to at least watch the first 3 episodes. I know sometimes people are like, watch Clone Wars, you have to watch the first 2.5 seasons before you like it, and that pisses people off sometimes. But like, seriously, I wasn't totally sold on the first 2 episodes. By the end of the third, I was like, okay, now I need to know what's going to happen. So I would recommend it. Have any of you guys on the panel thought about getting either of these 2?
I've watched episode 1. I'm not sold on it, but you're the second person in the 1 week that has told me just watch 3 episodes and walk away if you don't like it then, but you probably won't. So I'm going to keep. I might watch the other 2 episodes, 2 and 3, tomorrow and see. But I'm hoping I don't like it because I don't need to spend any more money.
Also fair. Also fair. Charleston says, yeah, watch the first 3 episodes too, for sure. That's really where it got me. Pete, this wasn't fun for you, eh?
No, I've got far too much else to watch. No time to watch it. So no, I've skipped this one. But I have heard everyone that's watched it said they've really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's just a choice to not get involved with that. But yeah, I think the figures look pretty cool if you're a fan. So yeah, it's good to see something a bit different as well.
Well, and as I said, like I don't normally fangirl over stuff all that much because like for me sometimes hype actually wrecks a show. You know, like I still remember to this day everybody told me how funny Napoleon Dynamite film was. Like, oh my god, it's the funniest film we've ever seen. And then I watched it and I was like, I don't see the appeal. It wasn't until years later that I thought that movie was funny because they took the shine off of it by hyping it up so much. But this was one of those shows that I'm like, don't just skip this without at least giving it a chance, because I think more of us out there would be pretty impressed by how beautiful of a show it is, both the story and, as I said, the artistic approach. But there is Vi. Love to see her. I think she looks great. Not my favorite outfit that she wears, but still a great figure. This is our final topic of the day. I think today, guys, we may finish it with some very quick predictions, but I was curious, have you had a chance to see Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man yet on Disney+? I watched the first 2 episodes the other night. They're pretty short. I think they're only about 30 minutes each. I watched the first episode, honestly, expecting to not really like it that much, and then I liked it enough to watch the second episode, and it was okay. I didn't hate it. I don't hate the animation style. I've seen some people say that the animation style looks a little washed out and weird, especially if you're comparing it to something like, Into the Spider-Verse or Beyond the Spider-Verse. But I also think that this was intentional. It really very much, to me, feels like it's out of the pages of a comic book. And of course, Hano, as a result, has given us a Spider-Man. So, first thoughts, real quick, and then I'll go to my panel here. Hano. This was supposed to be a entry grade figure, price point wise, what we expected of the quality of the character and the figure itself. This is now already one of the most expensive, announcements that they've had. It seems to me that the price progressively keeps moving in the upwards trajectory, taking this out of what felt like an entry grade price point of that 165, like we saw with that original Wolverine, which, let's be honest, felt a little bit too good to be true. Even at that point, I don't think most of us thought they were going to stay in that line or that price point. But at the same time, we also just saw that black suited Spider-Man not that long ago, and I think he was $175. So I don't understand why this is another $25 more expensive than another Spider-Man, especially when this doesn't come with a head sculpt and on and on and on. And so for me, even though I don't hate the show, in fact, I'm actually kind of excited to watch the next couple episodes and see what happens. This is a skip and a half for me, especially at the price. But even if it was $165, I don't totally love the design. I don't know. It feels a little homemade suity, which it is, but I don't love it in the show. I'm excited for his next look. So all that to say, Pete, I'll go with you first, actually, on this one. What was your perception of Hano when it first hit the market for 6 scale? And how are you feeling about the trajectory of it at this point?
Yeah, I thought it was a good thing. I think that obviously the price of this hobby has skyrocketed in the last 10 years. So yeah, having those prices was good. I think it's inevitable that they were going to start ramping those up as they started to get people in, getting the figures out to people and seeing that they're decent quality. I haven't seen one in hand, but from what I understand, the Wolverines were very well received. Whether they justify more to this for this because it's got accessories as such, because I don't think the other thing, the Wolverine, the Black Suit Spider-Man, they kind of didn't really come with a lot. So maybe that's part of the reason. I don't know whether there's more cost involved with that sort of thing. I don't know. We did a really funny section on this on OFAT last week. If you want to go check it out. We were quite disparaging of it, and then actually by the time we finished having a laugh about it, we were like, yeah, I might pick it up actually.
That's the way she goes.
Yeah, especially if it goes bargain bin. But no, it's not for me. I might give the show a look. I was the shot you had before, the guy on the left. I don't know who he is, the villain guy, but the look of that, it's very much like a 70s
Doctor
vibe
Strange
to it. Oh, that's Doctor Strange. Yeah, okay, but yeah, I see what you mean. It's like it's got a very simple art style, the colours and everything. It makes me feel like it's like a 70s, 80s kind of cartoon.
Yep.
So
Aunt May is still a baddie in the show. I will give her that too. I don't know if that matters to anybody.
Cool.
Aunt May is still a baddie. So
yeah, I'll give it a watch, but I won't be buying the figure. No.
That's fair. That's fair. What about you, Shane? What are your thoughts on? Have you had a chance to see the show yet?
Just
doesn't do it for you.
I watched Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse again last week. I rewatched them, and they're just so mind-blowing. And I appreciate that, it's a very unique art style, and this is more of the simplistic comic stuff. And I do admire the comics and the way they're drawn in different ways and stuff like that. But there's just a long list of quality TV shows out there that I'm working my way through off the top of my head. Yellowstone, Shogun, Arcane,
Shogun
awesome. So there's, I don't want to spend a whole day as well watching stuff as well. So I want to, I'm not going to watch
this. Grass occasionally.
I'm just not going to watch this. And it's not worth $200. And the Wolverine, like when Hono first came on the scene, I was like, man, the comic book fans are going to be delighted. And then they started off, came right out the gates with that Wolverine, and it was like, 160. It had the silicone arms. It was, good character choice. It had the kind of comic backdrop. I know you have to cut the box and all that, but I was like, all right, they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot good here. And because I think it's a heavy, I think it's a die-cast, a metal body. I'm not sure. It's a heavy body. Mm-hmm. But then this, I don't even think this looks any way cool. Like, no.
It looks like a toy. I showed even some work people the other day just to get the feel for the average Joe, right? The people who don't look at collectibles all that often. And I was like, what do you think of this Spider-Man? And they're like, oh, it looks like a toy. And I'm like, in comparison to the other toys that I collect, and they're like, no, those things look like people. Like this looks like a toy. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, interesting, fair enough. But I mean, unfortunately, it's not even a knock against Hano. This is what the character looks like in the show. Maybe a little desaturated though. I think the colors pop a little bit more in the show than the figure does. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Cypher, that says it looks a little washed out. I agree with that actually. I do think it looks a little on the washed out side. But Jay, I'd be curious, in terms of the trajectory of Hono, does this character even make sense for it right now? Because obviously this is some recency bias, but Shane mentioned it, when they came out and they're like, man, comic book fans are going to go nuts because think of all of the amazing comic book characters, the amazing ones that we don't have in 6 scale that Hano could nail just from the X-Men line alone, let alone the Marvel universe and everybody else. And then this is one of the ones we're getting now. And I'm like, do you feel like they need to give us a release schedule or more information, or is this something that people should be excited about? Where are you feeling on this one?
I'm kind of in the middle. I'm kind of the outsider looking in. I don't know too much about Hano. And for the TV show, I haven't watched it. I'm actually planning to watch it tonight with a wifey and daughter and see how it is. I'm hearing good things about it. But for the figure, I mean, just the price point to me is kind of what's throwing it off. Was it 170? Was it?
Yes. No, sorry. This
Pure
is 200. The
Oh,
black suit one
200.
was 175. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, it's not even to me, anyways. All right, it's not even an iconic Superman look. I don't identify that as Spider-Man to me, so it's kind of hard to relate and have that fandom and that inner child in me and be like, oh yeah, you got to get that figure. But 200 USD, by the way, is a lot of money for people in Canada or outside of the United States to get this and to get it shipped out to them. So, um, I mean, if it's something that if that collector wants, then for sure, all the power to you. But that price point is what's driving me back, and I'm sure that's what's driving a lot of other consumers back. Maybe if they dialed it down, maybe like 160, 170, and then build that reputation up a little bit, get a bigger fan base, get some more figures out there, give them some more confidence in what the end product is going to be. I would say would help their cause. But by looking at it, I mean, it looks good. From what I could see, it looks pretty accurate besides the saturation of the colors. But to tell me that this is worth 200 and probably more going to the future, I can't say that I'm confident in buying it or wanting to anyways.
For sure. It sucks because it's like sometimes I hear collectors throw out price points of like, oh, it's 200. Well, if it was 185, I'd consider it. And I'm like, really, the $15 difference, like that's gonna make
Yeah.
that's gonna do it for you, really? Like for me, I'm like, if this was 125, I actually probably would consider it. I think it would be kind of fun to play with and put it in the collection. And I wouldn't even worry about putting it in a display case. It might be something I just sit on the desk and mess with when I'm on live stream. But for 200, it's like, no, like there's just too many other cool things that I want right now. There's just too many other. And like, I think as much as I've enjoyed the first 2 episodes of the show, I think X-Men 97 was a still vastly better show. And I would way rather see Hano tackling those characters first than this. But again, that's a preference thing. We'll see. This might end up being one of the best shows out there, or it could flop. It's only in the first 2 episodes, so we will see. So guys, I think we should wrap it up here for the most part. I did quickly attach the Collector Joey slide here. This was the potential releases of January 2025. Of course, today is now February the 2nd. So whatever didn't get announced on this sheet is still now possible for upcoming. Of course, Chinese New Year is happening kind of right now. Yeah, we'll see a slowdown from those folks here over the next couple weeks for sure. But that's not to say that the figures here that are on the screen might still not get, released, right? Release announcements. So of these ones here, I'm really, really hoping to see the Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. I've wanted a Joaquin Phoenix Joker in my collection for quite some time, so I would be excited to see him pop up. But also I canceled my Han Solo, and I'm kicking myself for canceling it because I know that guy is going to come out, and I bet he's going to be a banger, and I'm going to wish that I got it. So I'm excited to see how the Han Solo turns out. But Jay, any on this list here that you're kind of hoping to see over the New Year holiday here, maybe that haven't been announced? And shout out to Collector Joey, by the way, for all his work on these slides in the past.
Yeah, Feral Predator. I'm still waiting for that one.
That's the one.
Feral Predator, and I don't know why, but Black Manta is just there's something nostalgic and just cartoony and fun and different about him. The Joker, I'm kind of over Jokers. Spider-Man and Batman, I'm quite over it. Nothing from this list particularly is like screaming at me besides the Feral Predator. I just watched Alien Romulus last night as well, so I'm pretty hyped up. Great movie. Had a couple friends over and watched it, threw on the surround sound, and we were screaming at some point, so it was fun. And oh man, that Feral Predator, like it's something different in comparison to the rest, I would say. So I'm most excited for that.
For sure. What about you, Shane? Anything on here that you are that you got on the pre-order list? You're excited to hopefully see with a release announcement?
The only one that I actually have officially pre-ordered on this from here is the Feral Predator, and the only ones that I have an interest in after that is the Han Solo. I do think they're eventually going to give us a Besman hand though, and that Miles Morales man. just keeps floating around in my brain. I need to get it out of my brain. That's it.
That's fair. That's fair. Anything for you, Pete? Anything on here that you're
Yeah.
hoping to see?
Yeah, I've got the two on. I've got Ahsoka and Han on pre-order, so looking forward to those. I really like the kind of samurai look for Ahsoka, and I've already got I've made the CCFL white blades, so they're ready to go. Han, yeah, I've got custom Return of the Jedi, but yeah, looking forward to upgrading here. And I mean the indie's overdue as well now. The Dial of Destiny indie, so
Yeah,
I think
quite a
that's
bit actually. I would think. Yeah.
should be on here as well. So it could be a very Harrison Ford couple of months. So I've got one of those on order as well. So
I wonder if they're going to do a quick release Red Hulk. You know, like one of those that's like announced and it's coming. Everybody's getting Red Hulk. I could see it. Could be fun. Could be fun. And you said the Ahsoka, the white version here, right? The Ahsoka, the white, not the young one.
No, the white one. So the two that are on their own on the second page. Yeah.
The likeness on that Ahsoka looks amazing.
Yeah.
To Rosario, she's just beautiful, right? So, and seeing her again in Netflix Daredevil, it's always good to see her again. So, guys, that is the show for today. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us on a Sunday. Just a quick reminder, if you don't mind, hit the like button on your way out the door today. It would definitely be appreciated to show the show to everybody who missed it live, of course. Just so you're aware, I have some sad news. I will be away next Sunday for a funeral out of town, so we will have to miss next Sunday, but we'll be back the following after that. I'll make sure I put a slide up for everybody just in case they're wondering or if they forget. But we won't be back next week, but the week after we will certainly be here. I will quickly read out our Tough Nut crew and then we'll wrap up with the guys here. We got Alvin J collecting weekly money, Mendez, Figures and Phantoms, 6 Scale Mafia, 1 6-Figure Focus, Feezy's Figures, King Dingaling, Sith Scale Collector, Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, Parks Industries, SpongeBob SquareBalls, Rogue One Photography, Peter Cass, 1 Adam 12th, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, Rachel Miller, Jose G. Hernandez, 12-Inch Moose Stream, Collection Obsession, Blair Dad Life, Balls, Honest Hansel, Pop Culture Relics, Harry Dempsey, Figurecraft, Trevor Weed, Bigger Rib, or I should say Big Rib, as Dean would say, X-Men Supreme, Don Maton, Figure in a Bubble, Valkyrie Magnus, Brick Artemis, Alex Serrato, OG fan when Star Wars was just Star Wars, and Tijuana Mike, aka King Churro. Thank you guys so much for being channel members. I did forget to shout out 1 Adam 12 for his 7-month membership as well, saying hope all is well. Hope you are doing well, good sir, as well. Thank you for being here on the show today. But of course, my panelists, I wouldn't have a great show without you guys, so thank you so much for being here once again. Mysterio Meotics, anything coming up for you, buddy? I just saw that you crossed the 100K subscribers recently. Now I think you're over 150 already. It's going up quick.
Wow.
I woke up and it was 500 and some out of nowhere. I was like, what the heck's going on? So awesome. Yeah, no, everyone can find me at mysterio.meotics on both Instagram and on YouTube. Got some content coming in. I did try a review video of John Wick. Kind of tried something different, a bit more like what I would like to see in a review. So hopefully that translates well onto screen. And I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun, taking some photographs and learning as I go. So it's a fun journey for sure. I wish I continued it years ago. I started it, but I stopped. But now it's moving along quite nice.
Cool, man. Keep it up. Consistency is key, and good people, good vibes. So I'm sure the YouTube community will feel that. So definitely, please do yourselves a favor, guys. Go over Mysterio Meotics. Let's get him to 1,000. I don't think there's that many people watching right now, but if we can get you there, we will try. So love to see it. 1 6-Figure Focus, Shane. Good to have you back, buddy. Thanks for being here late on a non-school night, but always appreciate you being here.
No problem, man. I appreciate it, and that's nice. When I have the Monday off, I'll usually send you a message and stuff like that. So I appreciate it, and it's good to meet Jay, and obviously always good to have a chat with Pete twice in 1 week. Happy days. Yeah, look, my channel is 1 6-Figure Focus. If you're 1 6-Scale collector, chances are if you're watching this, you are. And you haven't subscribed, maybe go over and check it out. Subscribe, start off with the collection tour Mark 4 might be a good point to start off it. We've got the Hope Show every Monday night, and tomorrow is the Hope Show actually. I might do a video tomorrow, as soon as I've done the collection, try to outline my top 10 favorite figures, which there's going to have to be a few honorable mentions. Like so, yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks very much, folks.
Awesome, dude. Nice to have you back again. As always, 1 6-figure focus, Mysterium Meotics. Both of those channels need more subscribers because these guys are awesome and they support Let's Get Nuts. I appreciate you guys. Before I go to you, Pete, Moose 12-inch Moose Dream did ask a question earlier. He said, hey, Ben Thomas Show, Collector Joey sent me a gift for my 12-month membership anniversary. Any gift coming? So it's funny you asked that. So I saw that Joey's sending me something as well. So I was like, man, that's awesome. I love Joey. He's such a good guy. Very generous. I'm going to get all of our channel stickers printed. So all of the nut badges that we have, all of the emojis that we have, all the Ninja Turtles, and literally everything, as well as Let's Get Nuts stickers and the Ben Thomas Show stickers and a whole bunch of them. So I'm thinking about doing something similar to what Collecting Weekly does, which is every month send out a couple to the channel members. So if you guys are channel members, I may be reaching out to you privately at some point and looking for your address so that I can send those potentially before tariffs start. So we'll see how that goes. Suddenly those stickers are like $19 a sticker. You hate to see it. The channel doesn't make that kind of money, but the channel membership link is in the chat there below, guys. So if you're interested in becoming a member, not only do we get to read out your comments specifically on the shows, but your names will roll in the credits at the end of every video as well. Something fun. Pete, Only Fools and Collecting is back. I watched some of your episode the other day while I was at work. I saw that our buddy Aaron Articulates was on there with you. Thanks for bringing him in. I know he was extremely excited to chat with you guys, and I know it was a good experience for him. And he's gone out and bought a whole new computer as a result. But anything going on with you and Only
No,
Fools
it's great. As I say, you know, he had his Aaron had his live debut with you on Let's Get Nuts a few weeks back. And I was chatting to him and said, you know, do you want to come on? Do you want to come on OFAC? And so we streamed last week. Had Shane on for a bit, and Aaron went nearly 3 hours. So it was a good show, great laugh. Aaron's so funny, and he kind of really, you know, it sparks off a lot of laughs. So and he's keen to carry on. So we've kind of I think next show, which will be towards the end of this month, we'll probably introduce him as a new co-host for the show. So, you know, it gives us a little bit of resilience as well, because I think with just the two of us, it's sometimes been, you know, difficult to get shows out and everything like that. So, yeah, he's a welcome member. So, yeah, check us out. I had a show last week, and yeah, it was good fun. And I see you've done some nice work with Aaron for his kind of rebranding of his YouTube channel. So he's 1/6 Sith. So go check him out. He's was it rants, raves, and
so ramblings. He was 1/6 Sith, and I kept saying that's too hard to say.
Yeah, it is.
And in his videos, he would often rant quite dramatically, ramble, rant, and rave about whatever. And like, you know, there were 15-minute videos, but my favorite part of his video was him talking about like random stuff like his cat and his haircut and like traffic and like some yeah, that's right. And like those were the fun parts. And he still will talk about figures and 6 scale, but also just life. So if you're like somebody who's definitely got a unique perspective on it, his channel's name has been upgraded to Aaron Articulates.
That's fine. Yeah.
Now, so and you'll see those rants and raves on there. So it's pretty good. It's fun. It's a fun watch. So
yeah,
and kudos to him, Pete, as well, for taking some criticism, because not everybody can take criticism. Like I'm no expert when it comes to this. I'm just hoping that it keeps going well for me too.
No, I think you sort of pushed him in a good direction. I think it fits well. And as you said, you know, if he's going to be on OFAC more regularly, then he can, you know, we can do the 1/6 stuff on there, and he can concentrate more on the other bits and pieces. But yeah, it's always great. We've got a long line of people that have been viewers to the shows, you know, for you guys in Collecting Weekly and OFAC, and it's great to kind of bring them in and get some new talent on the screen. So yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
Hell yeah. Well said, guys. thank you so much for being here. Everybody in the chat who's still with us, we have still over 43 people watching the final rundown. Thank you guys for being here and getting nuts with us today on a Sunday. I do always appreciate it. Again, we will be gone next week. We'll be back the week after that. So stay tuned. I will make sure I post it in Instagram. And of course, in between, if there's some fun stuff to talk about this week, I'm sure you guys will see my videos pop up here, of course, on The Ben Thomas Show. If you don't mind hitting the like button, smashing the subscribe if you're new to The Ben Thomas Show, or if you're just a watcher who's never done that before, it might be nice. And for that one person out there who hates the video every time, I love you face too. Hate to see it. Kill you with kindness. Kill you with kindness. Guys, that's all for today. Pete, with that said, we got nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Subscribe and makes it feel good.
Where shall I go? What shall I do? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's gone. It's all gone.